Chapter 1. At night, wisps of breeze kept blowing on his cheeks, and the slightest chill suddenly woke up the sleeping boy. What am I? Nurarikushin looked at his small hands, and then quickly touched his face, feeling the memories that seemed to flow in naturally in his mind, causing his expression to change constantly. Am I awakening the memory of my past life? Nurarikushin's head still hurt slightly. Just now, the memories of his past life suddenly poured out of his mind like spring water. In his previous life, he was a young manager of a large company. He was highly capable, conscientious, and extremely handsome. He had a successful career at the age of only 25. He was appreciated by the female president. He could have been continuously promoted and raised salary, but he ended up at home. A plane crashed directly into the apartment where he lived, and he died young. After meeting Pomeng in hell, I remember that Pomeng glanced at me a few times. The Pomeng soup that Pomeng poured seemed to be only half a bowl, while the others had a full bowl. Nuliang Lushan couldn't help but touch his face and said to himself, "It turns out that Meng Po opened a small stove for me. It was just a small bowl of Meng Po soup, which made me awaken the memories of my previous life 8 years after my rebirth. I am indeed handsome. He is popular everywhere and has great looks." After thinking about this, Nurarikushin returned to reality. He is now only 8 years old. The key is that he is not a pure human, but a half-demon with 3/4 human blood and 1/4 monster blood. Moreover, the person who was reborn turned out to be the grandson of an anime he had watched in his previous life, and he was none other than the protagonist Rikuo Nura. He couldn't help complaining, "Just let the monsters be monsters, and you still get a quarter of it. This is simply... I am not disgusted with my identity as a yokai, Nurarikuo, but I am somewhat looking forward to it. After all, the human body is too pure and weak. It is not bad to be reborn as a yokai. After all, yokai have special powers, and their lifespan is not as long as that of a human being, which is only 100 years. Comparatively, even if it is hundreds of years old, it is still young, and human beings have long been so cold that their descendants are several generations old. Therefore, instead of ruling out his identity as a monster, Rikuo Nura found it very interesting and wanted to live a different life. Nurarikushin murmured, "But this quarter of the bloodline is a bit fed up." Cut. Nurarikuo curled his lips. He likes to watch hot-blooded anime, but he doesn't think so about love stories. I remember that I had only watched 10 or so episodes of The Son of a Slicker in my own world. I didn't watch all of them. The only thing I remembered was that this Nuruo Rikuo had a big change from his human appearance after transforming into a monster. Not only did he look handsome, less, and his personality has changed a lot. If the human state is gentle, humble, and active, then when transformed into a monster, it is calm, majestic, and indifferent, which seems to be two extremes. But this wasn't a change of personality, he was still himself, it was just the boiling monster blood in his body that made him confident and excited from the inside out. But when he regained his human body, the feeling of excitement was no longer there, and his abilities also disappeared, so he became submissive again. Nurarikushin covered his face. "What is this? Fortunately, I am not alone. I still have status. I am born with blood and 2nd generation, oh no, 3rd generation status." Nurarikuo knew that his monster type was the grandson of the big monster Slippery Ghost. Even if it was only a quarter of his bloodline, the monster power in his body was not weak from the beginning when he transformed into a monster. Moreover, his identity is still the young master of the Nuliang Group, the largest monster organization in Kanto. His grandfather is the general and manages tens of thousands of monsters under his command. He is the kind who is born with a golden key. As expected, it is easy to enjoy the shade under the big tree. Ah! Call. Taking a deep breath, Nurarikuo opened the quilt and walked out. Both sliding doors of his room were open. Standing on the plywood, he saw the one in Nura's home at a glance. Huge cherry blossom tree, this cherry blossom tree seems to be magic. The tree is full of pink cherry blossoms all year round. Even if the petals of the cherry blossoms keep falling, there will never be much more on the ground, just like a fountain. The reincarnations are endless. This cherry blossom tree does have a history of 400 years. It was originally planted here by his grandfather and his long-dead grandmother. Ding! Congratulations to the host for awakening his past life memory, the system is being bound. The binding is successful. Congratulations to the host for successfully activating the system. The sign-in system is at your service. I found the sign-in location, the century-old cherry blossom tree. Please go to the host to sign in under the century-old cherry blossom tree. The reward will be distributed after the sign-in is completed. System. Nu Liang was shocked. The voice in his mind just now was definitely not illusory. In other words, he also has the kind of system that can only be found in novels. Sure enough, I have traveled through time. After all, the time-traveling army has a system that cannot be boasted. However, this system seems to be some kind of sign-in system. There is no prefix in front of it, such as God level, strongest, etc. It is not very advanced. Forget it, he hadn't expected it before anyway. It was better than nothing, and there was nothing to complain about. It was considered an accident. Nura-Rikushin was calm in his heart. Although he was surprised by the system just coming out, his heart did not fluctuate much. After all, he is the kind of person who is not surprised at all changes. Even if he is really happy in his heart, he will not show it too much on his face. He is a mature and stable adult, and he is not the kind of young boy who is shocked and has never seen the scene. No longer thinking about it, Rikuo Nura put on his shoes and walked forward. When he came under the cherry blossom tree, there was a virtual panel that only he could see, which displayed a 5-minute countdown. 5 minutes? Just wait. Nura-Rikushin inserted his hands into the wide sleeves of his kimono, and then sat down under the cherry blossom tree without any image. He raised his head and looked at the stars in the sky through the branches. After waiting for 5 minutes, he took a look. What reward will be given after signing in? In fact, Nura-Rikuo wanted to sit on the thick branch of the cherry blossom tree. As a tree that has been growing for hundreds of years, this branch is much bigger than him. However, he is self-aware. He is only in the human state now, and his bloodline is only a quarter. He is not much stronger than ordinary human imps. If you want to jump several meters high to a branch, don't even think about it. As for climbing up, think about it. If you want to be embarrassed, it's better not to do it. It's not bad to just lean against the tree. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the sign-in and receiving a quarter of his own monster blood reward. As soon as the system finished speaking, Nura-Rikushin felt a tingling sensation in his body. Replenishing the monster bloodline? But why is it still a quarter? Can't it be replenished? However, the system ignored Nura-Rikushin and said in an emotionless robotic voice, "Stay tuned for the next check-in location." Forget it, let's just say 1/4. Then I have this quarter plus the original quarter, which is equivalent to half of the blood in my body being demon. It can be called a true bloodline. He's half demon, not bad. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 2. Although it was only a quarter, Nura-Rikushin was quite satisfied. Maybe he would get this kind of reward for signing in the future. As for the next sign-in location, Nura-Rikushin thought that it should be triggered by the events he had experienced. This kind of thing cannot be forced. If it happens, it will eventually happen. There is no rush. After thinking about it, Nura-Rikushin felt the changes in his body, clenched his right hand, and a strange force that even he felt was slowly released, and the blood in his body boiled. This is demon power. After gaining a quarter of the monster blood again and reaching the true half-demon body, Nura-Lushin's physical strength in the human state directly increased several times. When his feet were touched, the small figure jumped directly high, and then he sat on the branch that he had been unable to jump to before. Not only are the 5 attributes of the body enhanced in the human state, but also Nura-Rikushin affected all the demonic power in his body. In one thought, his body instantly increased by 30 centimeters. His short brown hair and eyes also changed instantly. The pupils were now blood red, which was the same as the harmless look in his eyes just now. In comparison, it is as sharp as an eagle. But the short hair has changed the most, turning into long white and black hair that continues to stretch to the left, and his face has also become extremely handsome and enchanting. The temperament is more like that of a superior person, as if the whole person has changed from the inside out, as if he is a different person, but if you look closely, you can still see some of the previous appearance. A domineering aura and a powerful evil spirit are spreading throughout the house. Nuliang Group's family. The strange demon wind kept blowing, causing the petals that were originally falling to wither even more. It also caused the little demons sleeping soundly around the courtyard to be blown away by the wind, and even the surrounding ground shook. Split? Nura-Rikushin kept suppressing the power that was surging in his body, and said helplessly, this is the first time that powerful demonic power has been suddenly released. Can't you control it all at once? After Nura-Rikushin woke up, it was the first time he controlled power. The powerful power in his body made him unable to control it for a while, so he made his powerful demonic energy leak out and attract people's attention. But he couldn't hide the smile on the corner of his mouth. After all, his power was so powerful that it was difficult for him to control it for a while, which made him very excited. Yet, this demonic power. Rikuo. The general-in-chief, Nura-Rikushin's grandfather, Nura-Huideo, who had been sleeping alone in his room, suddenly woke up. This demonic energy that is similar to his own bloodline is unmistakable to Liu Sheng. Could something have happened? However, this demon power is really extraordinary, and I am afraid it has reached the level of a demon general. Monsters are generally judged for their strength based on the monster energy released by their own monster power. The strength levels from low to high are, Little Monster, Monster Soldier, Monster General, Monster Commander, Monster King, and Big Monster King. As for the Monster General level, monsters with this level of strength can become the mainstay in large monster organizations. Even in some medium monster organizations, with this strength, they can become the leader of hundreds of monsters. The first general of the Nuliang group, Nuliang Huaxiao, was the great demon king in his heyday. But now his body has an incurable injury, which has caused his body to become weak, and his body is no longer what it used to be. Even if he is no longer a great demon king, he is still stronger than ordinary demon kings. This is why the Nura group is still the strongest monster organization in Kanto. It was led by Nura Huaxiao 400 years ago and is known as the One in the Darkness. The Overlord shows his strength. And now it is firmly in the top few of the country's monster organizations. After all, there are definitely not many monsters at the level of the Monster King. Basically, you can count them on both hands, and they are all leaders of some very large monster organizations, or old leaders who have retired. As for the level of the Great Demon King, in the past hundreds of years, apart from Nuliang Huayao and Nuliang Liban, there have not been many heard of at all, so the existence of the Demon King is basically the ceiling. Hey? This hair. Nura-Rikushin recalled the back of his grandfather's head, and then looked at his long hair. Could it be that his monster-turned head would be like that old man's? He felt a little chilly just thinking about it. Nura-Rikushin couldn't help but reached out and touched it. What made him relieved was that he didn't have that long back of his head. He was just like ordinary people, just with long hair. Nuliang Rixhung exhaled and said, "It's okay, otherwise I really wouldn't be able to accept it." "What can't you accept?" An old voice came, and Nura-Rikuo looked up. The short man with the long back of his head was none other than his grandfather. He was also followed by a group of powerful Nunliang groups who were also Cotters, such as the monsters that were conquered in the second generation period, such as Haishan Fong, King Dianfong, Mao Changxiu, One-Eyed Deist, Nyogui, Muya Bodhidharma, etc. They are all monsters who always live in the Nuragumi family. These monsters are the most loyal monsters of the family, and they all showed surprised expressions when they saw Nura-Rikushin's appearance at this time. After all, from birth to now, Nura-Rikuo has always looked like a human. If they hadn't seen Nura-Rikuo carry him out of the second generation's wife's room, they would have thought he was just a human kid. After all, he didn't have a hint of demonic power. Nura-Rikushin put his hands in his sleeves and said calmly, "It's nothing, I just thought my head would be the same as yours." Nuliang Huapiao also had the same posture. He looked up at his grandson, who was already taller than him, and cursed, "Idiot, you don't have to worry about this. My head is like this for other reasons. I can rest assured that." Nura-Rikuo's appearance after demonization is definitely one of a million. If he had a long back on his head, it would be a great loss to the world, and he would not be able to sleep even if he lay flat on the ground. "Young master, this is what you are doing." Some second-generation yokai such as Sumu, Kuridabo, and King Dabo looked at the demonized Nura-Rikuo with great excitement. They were a little overwhelmed and did not even dare to recognize the powerful demonic person in front of them. "Damn it, but look at this handsome appearance and this hair, who else besides the Slippery family can have such strange hair?" They are all monsters that were subdued by the second generation of the Nura clan when he was in power, so they are very close to the second generation's son, Rikuo Nura. The original Nura-Rikuo was only in human form. He was naughty, mischievous, and liked to play pranks. He had all the qualities of a human being. No matter how angry he was, they had already accepted this fact. However, now, their young master actually showed a monster form. This face, this hairstyle, are so similar to the second generation, which really excites them, and the temperament is also completely different from the original, cold and indifferent. General. With one eye, Ushiuki and others all looked at the little Nurarikuo in surprise. Although his hairstyle and face shape were still small, they were 70% similar to the young general and the second generation. Spend. The human form of Nurarikuo is only less than 40% similar. He should have followed his mother. Now that their young master has turned into a monster, he must have followed his father. But why suddenly? Moreover, in terms of strength, the bloodline of monsters that have just been awakened can actually reach the level of monster general. Many of them here are only at this level, and they have lived for hundreds of years. This is really worth comparing. This kid is really amazing. It should be said that he really deserves to be the descendant of the second generation and the general. The bloodline of the successor of the great yokai is extraordinary. But unfortunately, after the excitement, everyone present came back to their senses. They knew one thing, that is, Nurarikuo was only a quarter and a half demon. In other words, he was destined to be unable to maintain it all day long. This look. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 3. Oh. Nuliang Huayao ignored the others, but looked at the monster-like Nuliang Lushan in front of him with interest. He was young but had an extremely handsome face, and the hair that extended back made him worthy of being his grandson. And he will become a demon general when he wakes up, and his future will be bright. Why, Sumu, Kuritabo, don't you recognize me? Nurarikushin looked at Suzu, whose head was flying in the air and whose body had no neck. Then he looked at all the other monsters present. The corners of his mouth rose up under everyone's gaze. However, at such a young age, he made an extremely domineering voice, I am Nura. Lu Sheng will be the third-generation general of the Nuliang group. I am the master of demons, and you are all members of my 100 Ghost Nightwalker. Yes, young master, we obey. Monsters big and small shouted excitedly. Little lord. The snow girl who had watched Nurarika grow up since she was a child had her big eyes flashing with tears, and she couldn't help but be filled with pride when she saw Nurarika being so domineering. Not only her, but everyone else was like this too. Looking at Rikuo Nura in front of her, she remembered their second general, and wished she could follow Rikuo Nura on his majestic night walk of 100 demons right now. Well. Seeing this, Nuliang Hualao couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Even though Nuliang Rikushin was enjoying great glory at this time, he knew that Nuliang Rikushin, who was only a quarter of his bloodline, would eventually be just a person most of the time. Human form, now monster form at night, but during the day. The song ended and everyone dispersed. After everyone dispersed, Nuliang Rikushin sat cross-legged under the eaves and looked at the cherry blossom tree in front of him. Although I am the young master of the Nuliang group, in this world, whoever has the bigger fist still has the final say. Identity is not omnipotent, but strength must be omnipotent. Nurarikushin thought about it for a while and decided to practice hard in the future and make himself a monster with no shortcomings. System, is there any newbie gift pack or something? Nurarikushin asked the system in his mind, what kind of sign-in system is this? Other people's systems have novice gift packages. It can't be lost on his side. The cold system sounded, ding, the newbie gift package has been detected and has been distributed. Do you want to open it? Nurarikushin's eyes twitched, okay, I won't ask about your feelings. Are you not ready to give them to me? But the system is like a dead person. Apart from the serious system voice, there is no hint of artificial intelligence speaking at all. System, open the gift bag. Nurarikushin was curious about what the gift package would bring. However, Nurarikushin knew that the world he was in was probably in Japanese comics, but he didn't watch many Japanese comics, only some well-known anime. But since it is a two-dimensional game, there should be skills, props, and the like from anime. What devil fruits, Zanpakut, ninjutsu, death eye, and speedy scions can be given to them at random. Ding, congratulations to the host for gaining a physical enhancement, the skill Sakura Shunpo, and the weapon magic sword Thousand Blades. Gone. Nurarikushin waited for a few seconds but did not hear the sound of the system again. He was so angry that he almost pulled the system out of his mind and slapped his ears twice. Just these 3 items and a big gift package for newbies, where are you? At least 6 or 7. Forget it, it's better than nothing, 3 things are enough. Nura Rikushin calmed down. Although there was little in his heart, it was quite practical after looking at it, and the most important thing was to rely on himself. Physical strengthening is to improve one's own physical fitness and one's own skills to a higher level. Sakura Shunpo is a skill for moving quickly within a short distance, similar to flash. When flashing, cherry blossoms fall down. It is very beautiful and is used to show off. As for the last weapon, the demonic sword Thousand Blades, it comes from a top weapon in an anime. The blade is composed of 1001 fragments, with a black handle and half blade. There are blue stripes on the blade, showing the pattern of evil spirits, and it can emit blue or purple light. Only when the stripes shine can they exert great power. The ability is to attack through thousands of fragments of the blade. The 1000 fragments of the blade can change shapes and attack the enemy in different ways. It only attacks but does not defend. It is unparalleled in the world and is the most offensive weapon. System: use physical enhancement. After understanding the 3 items in the gift pack, Nura Rikushin decisively used physical enhancement. In a state of numbness, Nuliang Rikushin felt the changes in his body. He was slightly taller, but his physique was different from before, 3 or 4 times stronger than before. After the physical enhancement was completed, Nura Rikushin sat cross-legged, with wisps of black smoke emitting from his body. This is... Even though Nura Rikushin didn't know it, he suddenly understood in his mind that this was called fear, and only powerful monsters could control this fear. Fear is a skill that makes other monsters, human beings, fear, you through your ability, which is the ability of the monster itself. But those who can possess fear are all strong and gifted geniuses. Those who are not in these 2 categories cannot understand. With the blessing of fear, the strength is more crushing than without fear. Fear can not only turn into momentum to attack others, but can also use fear to attack with greater power. In an instant, Nura Rikushin had the characteristics of a slippery ghost in his mind, a fear unique to the slippery ghost. Flowers in the mirror, moon in the water. Mirror flower, water moon, is the real ability of slippery ghost. Slippery ghost is a monster that can materialize dreams. For example, the moon in the water is not real, but just the reflection of the real moon. You can see it, but you cannot actually touch it. To see him, if you are confused by the moon in the water and touch him, you will find that the moon disappears in the ripples of the water. This is the fear of the slippery ghost, which disrupts other people's perceptions and makes it difficult for people to tell whether you are a phantom or a real person, or whether you do not exist, just like the moon in the water or the flowers in the mirror. Nura Rikushin had a smile on his face. This physical strengthening had to be said to be very effective. It not only improved his physical fitness, but also inspired his fear. Sleep. In a good mood, Nuliang Rikuo fell asleep directly. The next day, when the sun rose and the birds outside were chirping, Oikawa Hingrei, a beautiful girl with light blue hair, wearing a white kimono, and a very cute appearance with yellow ring eyes, walked all the way to the room where Rikuo Nura was. She is also a monster, and her type is a snow girl. Snow girls have always been known for their beauty. They have been in the Nura group before Riku Nura was born, and after Nura Rikuo was born, she has always been with Nura Riku. Born. Young master was so majestic and handsome last night. The snow girl's face turned slightly rosy. Thinking of Nura Rikuo last night made her a little restless. How wonderful it would be if the young master had always been in the monster form. Although he is still the young master, the monster form is not only more handsome than the human appearance, but also more majestic and domineering. But she also knew that the Nidame was a half-demon, and the young master's mother was human, so the blood of monsters was only a quarter. It would be great if the young master was not only a quarter, but a half-demon, because then he could always maintain the appearance of a monster. Although the half-demon would not be able to transform into a monster on certain days of each month and would only be in human form, but at other times most of them can freely control whether they are monsters or humans. As for the yokai form, you won't be looked down upon by other yokai except the Nuragumi clan. There are many other groups under the Nura group, and the leaders of each group are very strong. They all recognize the second generation and the first generation because of their strength. However, the general said before that Nura Riku should be eaten alive to become the third generation, but there were many doubts. The fundamental reason is that Nura Riku's human form may be slightly stronger than ordinary people, but compared to monsters without strength, there is no way to convince them. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 4. Young Master, it's time to get up. Oikawa Hingrei adjusted her mood, and opened the mobile door with a smile on her pretty face that people will never tire of. When he saw Nura-Rikushin in the room who had already gotten dressed and got up, he was stunned. It was not because Riku Nura got up on his own, but because Riku Nura's appearance at this time made her mind go blank. Ah! Oikawa Hangray shouted instantly. Why are you yelling so loudly, Yukiana? Nura-Rikuo turned around with a puzzled look on his face. The snow girl had always been quite gentle, but why did she scream so loudly when she came to him, as if he was molesting her? Young master, your appearance. Oikawa Hangray pointed at Nura-Rikuo in disbelief. The Nura-Rikuo in front of him was no different from the one after his demonization last night. He was even slightly taller than before. But that's not important. What's important is that the young master doesn't look like a human being at this moment. You must know that it is already daytime, and the sun is shining on your buttocks. With a quarter of Nura-Rikuo's monster blood, he can only maintain his monster state at night. Once the sun rises, he will transform back into a human. But now, actually still looks like a monster. Oikawa Hangray hurried forward and touched and scratched Nura-Rikuo here and there. It was not because she was dazzled, but because the young master in front of her was really the young master in a monster state, Nura-Rikuo. What happened? What happened, Yukiana? What happened to the young master? Oikawa Hangray's shout just now was heard by many monsters outside. They rushed over one after another, especially a few cotters. They were afraid that something would happen to Nuliang Lushan. In that case, they would not be able to survive. Atonement. After all, Nura-Rikuo is the son of the second-generation general. The future third-generation general, the future of the Nura group, must be protected at all costs. When they arrived, they saw that Nura-Rikuo's expression was exactly the same as that of Yuki Ono before, as if he had seen a ghost. It's just maintaining the monster form. Is it necessary to be so surprised? Nura-Rikushin touched his styled long black and white hair with his hands, and looked at this group of people with disgust. They all looked like a group of bumpkins who had never seen the world. Then, with his right hand inserted into the kimono on his abdomen, he calmly walked out from under their noses with an expressionless face. Hey, Kuritabo, just hit me. I'm not dreaming, right? As soon as the tall King Tianfeng finished speaking, a fist hit him on the head. Ah! Suddenly, King Tianfeng covered his head and rolled on the ground. Well, it seems that he is not dreaming. None of us are dreaming. Young master, he can maintain the monster form during the day. This young monk is really moved. Tears flashed in the corners of Kuritabo's eyes, and so did Sumo, whose head was floating on the side. One can imagine how shocked they were by this incident. But why can the young master still look like a monster during the day? Isn't he only a quarter of a monster? Mao Changji couldn't figure it out. Isn't this a good thing? There is nothing to worry about. As long as the young master can remain like this, the Nura group will definitely regain its former glory. Xiaowu clenched his fists. Now they were almost leaderless. Relying on just one generation was not enough. After all, they had been seriously injured and their strength had dropped several levels. The second generation was gone, and only the new third generation could continue to lead them. However, the original Nura-Rikuo was just a prank-loving human child, and they had no hope at all. Now, their young master has changed, so the position of the third generation must belong to Nuliang Lushan. They dare to fight for whoever dares to stop him. At the same time, Nura-Rikuo was walking in his courtyard. All the monsters in the family were looking at Nura-Rikuo directly. For the young master who was still playing pranks yesterday, such a big change today is still a big change. Didn't come back to reality. Is this the successor to the general and the second generation young master? Just looking at him makes him feel unruffled and powerful. That's right, he is the young master. Can it be the same? The young master has grown a lot. Yes, now that the young master has awakened the monster bloodline, and with his heroic words last night, I feel that the era of our Nura group is coming. Ignoring the words of those little monsters, Nura-Rikushin went straight to the place where he and his mother were eating. Nura Wakana is a human woman, now only 30 years old, with a cheerful personality. Most of the Nura group monsters respect this second-generation wife. Lu Sheng. Although he had heard about it, Nura Wakana was still a little stunned when he saw Nura-Rikuo's appearance at this time, but then he smiled and said, "It really looks like your father. Come, let's eat." Nura Wakana didn't say much. She only needed to know that the child in front of her was her own. As long as he grew up safely, nothing else mattered. Nurarikuo stood at the door and looked at Nurawakana's gentle smile, feeling some different emotions in his heart. He was an orphan in his previous life, but he didn't expect that he now has a mother. After breakfast, a black Tengu wearing clothes was flying in the air. He is Crow Tengu, and he is also a veteran-level monster. He existed 400 years ago when Nurahola formed the Nura group. At this moment, Crow Tengu looked at Nurarikushin up and down, and shouted a little rudely, "Young master, you can actually maintain this appearance during the day. I didn't believe it when I just got the news." Nurarikushin showed a disgusted expression and said, "Everyone is making such a fuss, but you are the monster who has lived for hundreds of years." Crow Tengu. But among the many surprised faces, last night, Nurarikushin noticed that his grandfather, Nurahwalao, only had a slightly surprised expression. Well, this bad old man is quite smart. At this time, Crow Tengu suddenly said, "By the way, young master, aren't you going to school today?" School. Nurarikushin remembered that he was still in elementary school. Ding, I found the sign-in location, please sign in at Yokiyo Elementary School. Go. Nurarikushin didn't think much about it. Since the system asked him to sign in at his elementary school and get a reward for his position, why not go? Moreover, although he is now half demon, he still has half human blood. In addition, he was a human in his previous life, so he is very accustomed to human living environment. Please give me flowers and data for my new book. Thank you. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 5. But young master, you are like this. Crow Tengu looked at the Nurarikuo in front of him. At this time, your appearance as a monster is so different from that of a human being. Others will not recognize you as Nurarikuo at all. Going to school may cause a commotion. Nurarikushin chuckled and said, "Appearance is not a problem." Then, under the control of Nurarikuo, the monster energy on his body subsided, and his hair returned to its previous length and color. His whole person looked much gentler, and his height also became shorter. Nurarikuo was able to stand between monsters and humans. Perfect conversion. After turning into a monster, the demon blood in the body gave Nurarikuo a sense of excitement, but in the human state, the feeling of blood boiling disappeared and he became human. Oh! Crow Tengu's eyes flashed as he watched. Generally, when a monster becomes a human, it will exude a certain amount of monster energy, which can be detected by powerful monsters. However, Nurarikuo's transformation perfectly restrained the monster energy, even though he is at the level of Crow Tengu. Even the monsters approaching the Demon King can't see through it. Should I say that he really deserves to be a half-demon? Later, at the gate, hundreds of little monsters were watching Nurarikushin off. Nu Liang was a little embarrassed and said, "There is no need to give it away in the future. I am not a child anymore. I just go out and there are so many people giving it to me." "Yes, yes, young master." The monsters only agreed verbally, thinking in their hearts that you are just a child. You are a child when you are human, but you are still a child when you become a monster, regardless of your age. Taking the bus to his original elementary school, Rikuo Nura clicked to sign in and waited for 5 minutes. Ding, you signed in successfully. Congratulations to the host for getting a female teacher's black silk stockings. Nurarikushin had no expression on his face. How could he sign such a useless thing? Rikushin, what are you standing there for? Go to the classroom quickly. On the side, Kana, the cuter girl's parent, said when Nurarikushin paused. Kyoko Kiyasugu nodded, and then said, "Yes, Lu Sheng, are you thinking about monsters again? There are no monsters in this world, why don't you believe it?" Several other classmates also spoke one by one. They were all elementary school classmates of Nurarikushin, and they were also good friends. They rode the same bus to and from school. However, just 2 days ago, the original Nurarikuo kept saying that there were monsters in this world and praised the monsters, which caused him to be laughed at by these friends. A bunch of brats. Nurarikuo ignored these children and walked straight forward. What's up with him? Shimajiro was surprised when he looked at Nurarikuo, who did not refute Kiyasugu and walked forward. Usually when someone says that monsters don't exist and it's false, Nurarikuo will definitely retort excitedly, but today it was so unusual that he didn't say a word. I don't know. Could it be that Kiyasugu is too harsh in your words? Hey, that shouldn't be the case. He was so angry yesterday. Why didn't he talk today? Kiyashiji Kiyosugu scratched his head, which made him a little confused. Could it be that his harsh words made Nurarikuo angry? However, the fact is that they have no idea that Nurarikuo has changed into another person, and they have no intention of getting along with these little brats. The day's class ended here. Nurarikuo still liked the feeling of class, and he was back to his childhood. Although this childhood was different from what I had imagined, and the knowledge I learned about this country was very different from what I had learned before. When Nurarikuo returned home, all the little monsters were greeting Nurarikuo. Although they didn't know why Nurarikuo looked human again, they didn't dare to talk too much. Because they are just low-level little monsters, not even as good as trash fish with no fighting ability. Young master is back. How is school? Have you been bullied? Have you? Yuki Onna was worried as soon as she met Rikuo Nurao, wishing she could stay with Rikuo Nurao 24 hours a day. Snow girl, you are exaggerating. Who would bully me and eat well? In short, everything is fine. Although it is a bit exaggerated to say that the snow girl is a bit exaggerated, seeing the other person's appearance of thinking about herself makes Nurarikuo feel warm inside. She really has the attributes of a wife. Young master, do you look like a human again? The burly and strong man Qing Tianfang came to Nurarikuo tremblingly. Looking at the human-like Rikuo Nura, he couldn't accept it. He was still a monster in the morning, and now he has turned into a human again. This contrast made it difficult for him to accept it. Accept. Others, including cotters from the second generation period, including Shou, Kuroda Fang, Mao Changxiu, etc., also gathered around. Nurarikuo took the blue Haori from Yukiana's hand and draped it around his body. He walked forward and said, "Didn't Crotengu tell you that I can switch between monster and human states at any time? This can be regarded as the benefit of being a half-demon." Kurodabo said excitedly, "So that's how it is. I wonder how the young master can still be a human being. Now that the general's bloodline has awakened, it will not remain silent." Nurarikushin glanced at these people casually. These people were all brothers of his father, Nurarikuban. They were also the monsters who took care of him the most since childhood, played best with Nurarikushin, and were the most affectionate. As for Suze's strength, none of them can see through it except Yukiana. Yukiana is a demon general, and she is still the weakest among the demon generals. But Suze and the others can't see through it, which means that she is at least stronger than him. Quite a few, most likely demon commanders who have surpassed demon generals. At this level, one can establish a large demon force outside, and now he has several around him. He is truly worthy of being a yokai who followed Nurarikopana during his period. Even many of the yokai who followed the first general, Nurarikopana, are stronger. After all, although those monsters are said to be the first generation elders, they are all living a comfortable life now and have not been active for hundreds of years. Their strength has declined, but some are strong and some are weak, so it cannot be generalized. Although the other monsters also listened to his young master, it was mostly because he had no deterrent power and was still a child, so they basically ignored him. Especially the monsters of his grandfather's generation did not take him seriously at all. This phenomenon is not acceptable. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 6. At night, Nurarikuo's little body lay on the 400-year-old cherry blossom tree in front of his room, with his hands under his head and looked at the stars at night. Suddenly, a demonic aura emitted without reservation. Evil spirit. However, Nurarikuo didn't take it seriously. Although these demons were not weak, if they were the demons that came to attack the Nura clan, they would not even know where to die. But soon the evil spirit disappeared. It seemed that it was not eliminated, but took the initiative to hide. Then, one after another, tyrannical evil spirits came from outside, but they would disappear as soon as they entered the house. Go and see what's going on. Nurarikushin ordered to the little demon in a corner. Yes, young master. However, just when the little monster took 2 steps, Xuanu came from outside and said, "Young master, the general will let you pass." Old man. Nurarikushin was wondering in his heart, why was he being called so late at night? And could the evil spirit he felt just now have something to do with him? Yes, the general asked you to go to the meeting hall. Many leaders of the Nilayong group have just arrived. There should be something big to announce. While speaking, Yuki Ono looked at Nurarikuo with admiration. She probably already knew what she was going to announce. After all, my young master has awakened the bloodline of monsters and is a real sly ghost. Moreover, the intensity of the monster power has reached that of a monster general. So it is time to decide on the third generation of general. The third generation general, who leads the entire Nura group, more than 70 groups, and more than 10,000 large and small monsters, is the most powerful monster organization in the entire Kanto region. The old man summoned other monster leaders of the Nura group who are out there to make me the third generation general. Nuliang Lushan lowered his head and said nothing. This news made him a little excited. Although he also wants to be a general, his age does not match his strength. Let's not mention his age, but in terms of strength, he is still just a demon general. This strength is fine for being a small leader of a group outside, but it is obviously not enough to lead the entire Nura group, because the monsters who can come to the Nura group's home for meetings are not weak in strength, at least with him monsters of the same level are even stronger. No matter what era, the strong are respected, no one will be willing to succumb to a brat who is not strong and has no hair. Even if his grandfather is the first generation general, no one will do it if he has no real ability. Keep him in mind. The old man has posed a difficult problem for me, but it's just what I want. According to previous memories, Nura Huaxiao has regarded Nura Rikuo as the third generation successor since he was a child, but he himself has not lived up to expectations. He has always looked like a human. There is nothing in his family, but other groups outside have I looked down upon Nura Rikuo, a half-demon. So after seeing Nura Rikuo transform into a monster last night, Nura Huapiao couldn't wait to announce it. Ding, I found the sign-in location. Please sign in the conference room. Let's go. Nura Rikushin jumped down from the tree, tightened the blue feather cloth around his body, and walked towards the meeting hall. He was originally going to the conference room, but now the system happened to sign into the conference room. It was a free reward. In the meeting hall, the first generation general, Nura Huadiao, was sitting at the top. He had been in a state of retreat since the death of the second generation, and he had to come out to take charge of the overall situation. Below him, the left and right rows were filled with monsters. These monsters were not little monsters. It's the monster leaders of the Nuliang group who are scattered outside to guard the territory. Each one has considerable strength, and at the end they are also monster generals. Otherwise, they would not be able to guard one side. Today the General Secretary will call us for a meeting. In addition to the usual annual gathering, there may be something important happening. Could it be that other monster organizations took action against our Nura group? It's possible, after all, in the past few years, since the death of the second generation, the strength of our Nura group has dropped significantly, and we have rarely appeared in other people's sights. Many monster organizations are eyeing the big cake of Kanto and want to get rid of us. A group of monsters below were chatting with each other and making various guesses. Cough. Nuliang Huapiao coughed lightly, and all the demons below focused their attention on him. Nura's smooth eyes looked down, and then he got straight to the point. I invite you here today for no other reason than that you are the successors to the third generation general of our Nura group. Oh, have we finally decided on the third generation? It has been 3 years, and there has been no news about the third generation. I thought the first generation general would always be in charge. Now is the third generation finally going to be announced? The demons were excited. Since the death of the second generation 3 years ago, the strength of the Nuliang group has declined seriously, and they are in a state of leaderlessness. It has been a long time since the 100 Demons Night Parade was held. Humans have almost forgotten the 100 Demons Night Parade, and their fear of the 100 Demons Night Parade is nothing. If there is less, if you want the morale of monsters to be strong, you must have fear to support it, and the source of fear is human beings. However, the leader of Hyakuki Yaka is missing, the core is missing, and the entire Nuliang group lacks a new general. It is very different from the Nuliang group during the period of complete victory. Among them, the monster Yuan Xingji had a terrible smile on his face and said, "The third generation? Haha, I think that among the monsters present, there are not as many bad things as I have done. In the past few years, countless human children have disappeared." Number. Yuan Xingji's words made other monsters look at him. It's self-evident that this guy's meaning is that he wants to be the third generation general, but he should go back and see what he looks like in the mirror. He still wants to get involved. Third generation position. Everyone didn't say anything, they just sneered in their hearts. For such an idiot, he was still a monster who had followed him since the time of the first generation general. But Yuan Xingji has no self-awareness. He is a monster who specializes in eating children. In the eyes of others, he is a guy with average strength but high ambitions. As for the successor of the third generation, I already have a designated person, and that is my grandson, Nurarikuo. Please support me with flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly tickets during the book release period. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 7. Master Lu Sheng. How could it be Master Rikuo? Although he is the grandson of the first generation general, he is still just a child under 10 years old. What's more, his monster blood is only a quarter, and he has always been in a human state. I heard that he is no different from a human child, and he is very naughty and mischievous. This general is not kidding, right? The faces of the demons below were ugly, and they all expressed dissatisfaction with this. They thought that the third generation and the others would also have a chance to compete, but now Nuliang Hualao made the final decision. Nuliang Huapiao looked serious and said, "Am I kidding? As the grandson of my husband and the son of the second generation, Lu Sheng is qualified to become the third generation. But, young Master Lu Sheng is still so young, and he is still human." Yuan Xingji clenched his fists. This old immortal actually let his useless grandson become the third generation. I am afraid that none of the monsters present were convinced. Just as Yuan Xingji thought, other monsters felt that this was the selfishness of the first generation, who wanted his grandson to take the position of general. Unexpectedly, ping! The sliding door was opened, and everyone turned to look. A small figure wearing a blue feather came in, ignoring the big monsters like them. "Master Lu Sheng, why is he here?" The general asked him to come. "That's right. After all, he is the main character this time." Smelling the human scent of Nurarikution, many monsters expressed disdain. Is this their future third generation? A mere human child, even a first-generation grandson. It seems that the Nura group is about to be completely finished. "Oh, Lu Sheng, come and sit here." After meeting Nurarikuo, the serious expression on Nura Huao's face instantly turned into a smile, which shows how much he loves his grandson. "Grandpa, do you have a problem with me?" Although Nurarikuo knew it, he still asked. "Today my grandpa summoned these Nulianggu cadres to announce that you will be the successor to the third generation general of the Nulianggumi." Nuliang Huapiao said with a smile, but his face twitched when he saw Nuliang Lu Sheng's appearance at this time. This is the reason why he is looked down upon by others. "Oh, is that so?" Nurarikution came to his grandfather's side and sat on the futon that had been prepared in advance. Nurarikution nodded calmly, looking sharply at the ugly monsters below, with a smile on his lips. "If that's the case, then I will be the replacement for the third generation general." As for why he did not become the third generation general immediately but became a backup, it was because monsters reached adulthood at the age of 16, and only after they reached adulthood could they take over the position of general. Although one reaches adulthood at the age of 16, it can only be regarded as a fraction among monsters with long lifespans. Which one of you here is not a monster who has lived for hundreds of years? Unlike humans, monsters have a long lifespan. Generally, the lowest level of little monsters has a lifespan of 200 to 300 years. For example, Nurarikuo is now a monster general, and his lifespan is at least 700 years or more. As for his grandfather, Nuliang Hualao, he had the strength of the great demon king 400 years ago and lived for thousands of years. However, he was severely injured in a battle 400 years ago and lost an important liver in his body, leading to premature aging. Lifespan is shortened a lot. But he looks so old, and the injuries in his body have not recovered. But looking at his energetic appearance, there is no pressure to live for another few hundred years. "You're really welcome." Ichimoku curled his lips in displeasure, but as soon as he met Nurarikuo's sharp eyes, he felt a sense of oppression, which made Ichimoku shake his head hard. I guess it was an illusion. Although this little kid awakened as a yokai last night, after all, he only has a quarter of the blood of a yokai, and only a quarter of his appearance as a yokai. Most of them are still human. He still wants to take charge of the Nura group. Has no self-awareness at all, and if this little guy is allowed to inherit the Nuliang group, he is afraid that even the scum will be swallowed up by the forces in other regions. This. After a period of silence, many monsters protested. These protests were nothing more than making a fuss about Nurarikuo's bloodline and strength. Nuliang Hualao was still drinking tea calmly during this noisy time, as if the matter had nothing to do with him, and wanted Nuliang Lu Sheng to solve it by himself. But there are also voices of approval. The cadres here are not only composed of Nuliang Huaxiao, but also the subordinates of the second-generation General Nuliang Liban. They will naturally support the son of the second-generation general, so the conference room has almost turned into a noisy vegetable market. This old man, he is just a child under 10 years old, and he actually made me bear this kind of pressure. Nura Rikushin glanced at Nura Hualao, and saw that he looked like he had caused trouble for him but stayed out of it, and he vomited in his heart. Listening to the chaotic voices below, the matter has come to this, so let those who oppose him shut up. Ding, the sign-in is successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill of celestial control. At this moment, the system's check-in was finally completed. Celestial control, could it be the kind of controlling wind, rain, thunder, and lightning? It looks so awesome. Nura Rikushin looked at the skill introduction of Tianxiang control. He can freely control the sky according to what he wants, such as dark clouds, flashing thunder, heavy rain, cloudless, and heavy snow. It's very good. Although it doesn't have any real attack ability, it can affect the weather by itself. It's another show-off skill. That's enough, what a noise. At this moment, Nura Rikuo slapped the table, and wisps of black energy appeared out of thin air on his body. Immediately afterwards, a depressing sense of oppression permeated the entire conference room, vibrating in the souls of all the monsters present. The originally noisy monsters with their own opinions fell silent. The monsters who still wanted to speak with their mouths open wanted to say something, but looking at Nura Rikuo's current appearance as a human being, his mind went blank and he was speechless. Boom! A sudden bolt of lightning resounded in the sky, and the white thunder light illuminated the open conference room in white, startling all the cadres present. Obviously when they came, they could see the stars in the sky and the bright moon in the sky, so there would be no lightning at all. This is fear. This pressure is so strong that I'm afraid. Who is it? Is it the general? No, although this fear is strong, it is not as good as the general, but this fear can make me feel scared. For a while, the demons kept speculating about what happened. It was not until the pressure dissipated that they calmed down and looked ahead in horror. Nuruo Rikuo. Please support the new book with flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly passes, and free data that seems to be good, so that the author can be more motivated to code. Thank you. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 8. When the pressure dissipated, they clearly felt that this sense of oppression actually came from Nura Rikushin, whom they all looked down upon. How could this be possible? Nura Rikushin was only a child under 10 years old. How could it be possible to intimidate all of them, who were no less than a demon general, just by relying on their momentum? Young master, what you look like? When the monsters looked up, the light brown hair of Nuliang Lushan, who originally looked like a human, had already undergone great changes. The hair is long and stretches on the left side, as if it is fixed with hairspray. Even a strong typhoon cannot blow it off. There is a black line on the white hair at the top and black at the bottom. The blood-red pupils are very focused, and the eyes are sharp at once. Quite a few, there is a kind of self-prestige without being angry. His face has also changed a lot. Not only is his skin much fairer, but he is also more handsome. Even if he is just a child under 10 years old, with that face, he is definitely considered to be a peerless handsome man. His height has also increased by several dozen centimeters, as if suddenly a few years older. This is... Looking at that face and slippery psychonic hairstyle, all the demons looked at each other in confusion. Just now they said that Nura Rikuo was just a human being, but now they were slapped in the face so quickly. Everyone, please calm down. Anyone who is dissatisfied with me, the third-generation general, can stand up. Just after the last word fell, the same fear as before fell on everyone again. Although it was not as shocking as the first time, it still made it difficult for the demon to keep his mind. I didn't expect that this kind of aura was really coming from that Nuliang Lushan. Oh my god, what kind of monster is this? He actually has such a powerful fear at this age. Not a single monster in the field spoke, and those who had just questioned Nura Rikushin were also silent. Seeing that everyone was silent, Nura Rikushin said with satisfaction, no one objects, then on my 16th birthday, I will officially take over as the third-generation general of the Nura clan. During this period, I will still be the young master of the Nura clan. Within a few minutes, the meeting ended. Nura Huapiao looked at the Nura Rikuo in front of him who only knew how to play pranks yesterday. Now he was so powerful. He was really impressed. Originally, he had no intention of letting Nurarikuo become the president in one go. After all, Nuliang Lu was still young, so it was normal for everyone to be dissatisfied. But unexpectedly, this brat actually came out with a stronger momentum than him and decided the matter directly. He breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that he had been worried about whether Nurarikuo could succeed the third generation in the past, but he didn't expect that this boy was so successful. Now he can feel more relaxed. Nura Huapiao didn't ask Nurarikushin why he could maintain his monster form in the morning and burst out with such powerful fear. All he needs to know is that Nuliang Lushan is his most beloved grandson. No matter what the future holds, Nuliang Huayao will stand behind him without hesitation. The grandfather and grandson chatted for a few minutes and then separated. As soon as Nurarikuo came outside, he was surrounded by Yuki Ana King Dianbo and others. They were just family generals, not commanders stationed outside, so they could not appear in the conference room. They didn't have the guts to stand outside and eavesdrop on important meetings, but they roughly knew what happened from the conversations among the leaders who came out of the meeting. It's great. That mischievous and prank-loving young master can actually announce in such a formal occasion that he will become the third generation and take over when he reaches adulthood. It's great. The burly King Dianfeng raised his head, wiped the corners of his eyes with his right hand, and cried like a child. Yes, the young master has finally grown up. Kuroda turned his back, and something flashed in the corner of his eyes. They are all yokai who follow the second generation, and they also love the second generation's child, Nurarikuo, otherwise they would not accompany him to play pranks and be the target of teasing. Now that the young master is promising, and will soon assume the title of the third generation and lead the 100 ghosts at night, they are naturally overjoyed. Nuliang Lushan looked at them speechlessly and said, "You are monsters, don't cry like a girl and hold back your tears." "Yes, young master." The two men immediately stood up and were scolded. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter cycle alternately, and 8 years have passed by. Nurariku, who was originally in elementary school, is now about to be a freshman in high school, modified version. The original is only 13 years old in junior high school, here it has been modified to 16 years old in high school. Host, Nurarikushin age, 16/1531 race, slippery ghost/human realm, demon commander weapons, 1000 blades of the demonic sword, Yamaki Maru skills, mirror Shisui, mirror flower, water moon, Sakura Shunpo, celestial phenomenon control, karmic fire. Nurarikuo walked alone to the street where the high school was newly opened today. Looking at the virtual panel in front of me that only I can see, it's very luxurious. Over the years, through his own training and the training with the strong men in the Nuliang group, Nurarikushin's strength has reached the level of a demon commander. For a demon commander who is only 16 years old, this is something that all demons in the demon world cannot achieve. The level and lifespan are thousands of years. It can be said that the 16-year-old demon commander has far surpassed the vision of all monsters. After all, monsters have long lifespans and their strength increases slowly. It is also very difficult to reach the realm of being a handsome demon. It requires talent and time to accumulate. Across the country, excluding the Nuliang group, there are only about 100 monster commanders in total, and they have all lived a long time to reach this level. It is enough to form a monster organization outside and dominate an area. Yami Kirimaru is a demon exorcism knife that has a fatal damage bonus to monsters. It was given to Nurarikuo by Nura Huaidao. The skills Mingjing Shisui and Kyokasuijutsu are Nurarikuo's tricks as a sly ghost. Karma fire is a kind of blue flame that has extremely powerful power and has a fatal effect on monsters and monsters. With Nurarikushin's strength at this time, there are very few people who can defeat him, unless they are some powerful demon kings. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 9. Ding, please sign in at Sakura High School. There's another sign in. Listening to the system prompts in his head, Nurarikushin muttered to himself. Over the years, he had not signed in many times and spent most of his time practicing. Arriving at Yokiyo High School, where Rikuo Nura was promoted, high school students continued to enter from the school gate, wearing uniforms of blue and white school uniforms. Girls wore short skirts, either with bare legs and short socks, or stockings, and the boys wear blue and white jackets with a black tie underneath. The school uniforms are quite nice. Especially when worn on handsome and beautiful people, it is even more amazing. However, in the eyes of Nurarikuo, there are other things, such as filth, which are monsters produced by human negative emotions. They are weaker than mice and have no attack power, and are as strong as demon soldiers and demon spirits. Ordinary people can't see this kind of thing. This world is not simple, there is not only this kind of filth, but also monsters and ghosts. Nurarikushin ignored the filth and entered the campus, sighing, "Are you in high school? If you are an ordinary human being, you may have some inner fluctuations. 16 years old is not too young for human beings. After all, human lifespan is short. People get married in their 20s, middle-aged people from 30 to 50 years old, and then the elderly. A person's life, at most 100 years, will turn into a pile of loess. But now he is a monster, and he is still a handsome monster. He has a long lifespan. The age of 16 years old will not even count as a fraction in the rest of his life." Nurarikuo looked at the blackboard that was crowded with people. There were a few notes on the blackboard, and the names written on them were the classes they were assigned to. Nurarikushin looked at a mouse hiding in a corner not far away and gave him a look. Immediately, the mouse understood Nurarikushin's meaning and ran with its short legs into the crowded crowd. However, less than 3 seconds after the mouse entered, a girl screamed, "Ah! Mouse! Mouse! Shoot the mouse!" For a moment, the mouse was beaten so hard that it ran away holding its head. Nuliang Lushan stroked his forehead and looked at the mouse that was being chased by several boys with pity. It really is a mouse crossing the street, and everyone is shouting to beat it. Then Nurarikushin no longer counted on the little mouse, and glanced at a crow standing on the wall again. The crow understood, flapped its wings twice, and stood directly on top of a fat man's head to look at the blackboard. Information on. A minute later, the crow flew back to Nurarikuo's shoulder. "Young master, the class you are in is Class A, Grade 1. After receiving the news, Rikuo Nura walked towards the first grade. The rats and crows he commanded just now are barely monsters, but these monsters are generally used for intelligence purposes. Strictly speaking, they are not even worthy of being called monsters. At most, they are stronger than ordinary rats and crows, but their lifespans are longer than ordinary ones. There are more rats and crows. Of course, if they were allowed to spy on intelligence, the death rate would be high." Nurarikuo came to Class A. There were less than 10 people in the class, and most of them were still outside to confirm their class. "Among the few people here, there is also a girl I know." It was a girl with long straight light blonde hair and a pair of amber eyes. She was quite beautiful. Shina Mahiru, this is her name. This girl has been in the same class as Nurarikuo since elementary school, junior high school, and now high school. They have always been classmates in the same school and class. Mahiru Shina also saw Rikuo Nura entering the classroom door and nodded to him in greeting. A smile appeared on Nurarikushin's lips, and he immediately sat on the seat to her right. "Shina-san, I didn't expect that we are so destined to be in the same class." Shina Mahiru smiled back and said, "Yes, what a coincidence, Nura-kun." Nurarikushin casually put his school bag into the drawer and continued, "We have been classmates for 3 years in high school. Please give me some advice." Shina Mahiru's amber eyes stared at Nurarikuo for 3 seconds without blinking, and then said, "Well, I will ask for your advice in the future." Mahiru Shina is beautiful. She was always the focus of the crowd when she was in junior high school. She is kind and polite, and many boys like her. Ding signed in successfully. Congratulations to the host for getting the Demon King Madara. Do you want to receive it now? Demon King. Nurarikushin raised his brows. Could this Demon King be a Demon King who was even stronger than Hao Shui? Madara, I have never heard of this name. I won't receive it for the time being. Nurarikuo will wait until he is free to speak. He was sitting there with his arms crossed in boredom. The class was almost full and he didn't know many people. About half an hour later, a pink-haired woman in her mid-20s, wearing professional classroom uniform, walked in. After writing 4 big characters on the blackboard, he knocked on the blackboard and said, "From today on, I will be your homeroom teacher. My name is Kirisuma Fuyu. Now, please state your names and introduce yourselves one by one, starting from the first row." A boy in the first row stood up and began to introduce himself. "My name is Ri Chuang Gang Plate. I like snacks and games. My name is Hui Teng, and my dream is to become a doctor in the future. My name is..." A girl with mixed race beauty and golden twin tails stood up and said, "My name is Eri Sawamura, and my dream is to become a great manga artist." When she spoke, her tone was extremely gentle, showing off her ladylike demeanor. Most of the boys in the class looked at her, and with just one glance, they felt that they were about to fall in love. Where can I meet such a beautiful girl? I didn't expect that there is one in their class. As for the gaze of the crowd, Iri Sawamura faced her slightly. This time, it was as if Cupid's arrow shot through the hearts of all the boys. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 10. Well, he looks good. Nurarikushin didn't pay much attention to it. To him, no matter how beautiful it was just a red and pink skull. Human beings could only last for a short 30 or 40 years before they would undergo great changes, such as wrinkles, hair, etc. Unlike monsters, Nulianglo will not change much in a few hundred years as it has grown up to now. At most, it will become a little more mature. My name is Shina Mahiru, and my dream is to be a teacher. After Shina Mahiru finished speaking, the boys turned their attention again. So cute, like an angel. Yes, angel, it gives people a sense of sanctity that cannot be profaned. Oh my god, there are actually 2 beautiful girls in this class. They are so eye-catching. The topic for boys is nothing more than this. The appearance of women is very attractive to men. TCH, man. As for the girls, they felt disdainful when they saw the boys' leering expressions. My name is Nakano Sanjiu. It's a beauty again, my god, did I save the galaxy in my last life? I have to study in the same class with so many beauties for 3 years, my god. When it was Nurarikuo's turn, he stood up and spoke in a calm voice that made people feel like a middle-class person. Nurarikuo, your dream is to become the strongest. The strongest one? Is it a fight? Ha ha ha, what others say is at least a bit hopeful. I'm afraid he won't be able to do it in the next life. But with the name Nurarikuo, it seems that he graduated from junior high school with the top score in the country. Hey, it's true what you said. I saw the hot searches on the internet last night, and the name Nurarikuo was still in the top 3. I didn't expect it to be him. He was the first in the class, but he was still in the second place. Nurarikushin ignored these people's gossip. He just told his truth and had no intention of gaining the approval of these humans. Is this guy the Nurarikuo who ranks first in the country's overall score? Kirisumafuyu looked at Nurarikuo carefully for a few seconds. With such good grades, he could go to a better high school. Although Sakura High School was ranked among the top 10 in the country, it was a fact that there were high schools that were better than them. I remember that when the principal told her, he was so excited that he was a little incoherent. Because if Nuliang Riku's student becomes successful in the future, then his alma mater will definitely take the lead and will have great honor. Kirisumafuyu secretly said, seeing is worth hearing 100 times, but his ideal seems unrealistic. It seems that he must correct his ideal in the future, at least stop daydreaming. Okay, next one. Behind Nurarikuo, a boy suddenly stood up and said with a somewhat exaggerated expression and movement, my name is Kiyashiji Kiyoshi. My dream is to see monsters, and I will form a club called Kiyashiji. Detective team, everyone is welcome to join. Another madman. Where in the world do monsters come from? If you want to meet monsters, why should you set up a monster society? It's hopeless. We are in a society governed by law now. Where do monsters come from? It is unreasonable. Everyone obviously does not believe that there are any monsters in this world. After all, these are just legends. They have not seen it with their own eyes and the media has not reported it. Therefore, it is normal for ordinary people not to believe that there are monsters. Monsters, it is true that ordinary people cannot see them. This is because humans have heard too many monster legends and are too ferocious, so they will subconsciously be afraid and fearful. Even if the monsters are not invisible and walk in front of people, they will still see them. Less than. Faced with the denial of others, Kiyoshiki Kiyasugu continued to say excitedly, no, there are monsters in this world, because I saw them when I was a child. He also doesn't expect everyone to agree with him, because he still has like-minded comrades. He turned to look at Nuralushan and said, Lushan, I didn't expect us to be together again. We will continue our journey of exploring monsters in the future. Can. Nurarikushin replied that he was bored at school anyway, and it would be quite a relief to go and have fun with them. This Kiyoshiki Kiyasugu is someone Rikuo Nura knows, and he was in the same class from elementary school to high school. And Shina-san, if you are interested, you can join our Kiyoshi Strange Detective team. Kiyashiji Kiyasugu invited Shina Mahiru, this girl is too calm and has good looks. If she can be roped in, she might win over more boys. No need, I don't have that hobby. Shinamahiru didn't really believe in monsters either, so she wasn't interested. As if he had expected to be rejected, Kiyoshiki Kiyasuga waved his hand and said, "Okay, if you change your mind in the future, you are always welcome." Soon, the students introduced themselves and had a preliminary understanding of their entire class, and then the class began. After class at noon, Rikuo Nura came to the rooftop alone with the lunchbox Yukiana made for him. There was no one on the rooftop, and Nilayong Lushan opened the lunchbox. Although the bento made by Bingley is ice cold, it still tastes very good. Nura Rikushin said while eating. Oikawa Hingrai is the Yukiana, which is her name in the human world. From elementary school to now, Nura Rikuo has made the bento he brings every time. Moreover, Oikawa Hingrai is also in this school, with the reputation of protecting him, the young master of the Nura clan. But Nura Rikuo is already a demon commander, and Yukiana is still a demon general. Without any improvement, there is no need for her protection at all. However, although Nura Rikuo is a demon commander, he has never shown his prowess. People who know not much. Nura Rikuo also acquiesced in the snow girl and other monsters to follow him as his guards. After all, no matter what happened, he would always take action. By the way, system, let's release that demon king Madara. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 11. Ding, the demon king Madara has been distributed. As soon as the system finished speaking, a white light appeared in front of Nura Rikushin, but this white light was a bit small, only the size of an ordinary cat or dog. The white light dissipated, and a fat, white cat with a head larger than the other cats, resembling a lucky cat, was scratching its head with its feet. This is the demon king. Nura Rikushin knelt down and carefully looked at the demon in front of him, who was called the demon king by the system. Isn't it just a wild cat? What abd the demon king is? Nura Rikuo grabbed the lucky cat's hind legs and lifted him up. Hey, 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 what are you doing? Let me go. The lucky cat showed human anger and wanted to scratch Nura Rikushin with its claws, but its two short legs could not touch Nura Rikushin no matter what. Oh, it can also talk. It seems that it is not an ordinary wild cat, but when it comes to the demon king. Nura Rikuo looked at the lucky cat with very suspicious eyes. Could such a cute and somewhat naive cat be the demon king? That look in your eyes, are you looking down on me? Madara's short arms were crossed in a gesture, as if he was angry at Nura Rikuo's suspicious eyes on him. Nura Rikuo touched his chin and looked carefully at the lucky cat that was only the size of his shoe. He somewhat recalled who this guy was. He seemed to be the big monster in Natsum's friend's tent. Nura Rikushin ordered, "Show me a prototype." "Hey, don't look at my Shinryu prototype later, I'll scare you to death." As Madara spoke, the demonic power in his body was released, and his body suddenly grew, from a lucky cat the size of a shoe to a feline demon about 6 meters in size. White soft fur, a fox-like head, a 6 to 7 meter long body, and a suffocating demonic power. Nilayong Lushan felt his terrifying demon power, nodded and said, "It is indeed the demon king, okay, I understand, change back." Madara's huge appearance shrank in an instant and changed back to the image of the lucky cat. He landed directly on Nura Rikuo's shoulders. He narrowed his eyes in dismay and said, "How dare you say that I am a wild cat? It's true that you are not a wild cat. From now on, you can follow me and enjoy the hot and spicy food." "Hehe, then I won't be polite to you anymore. From now on, I will follow you to enjoy the hot food and drink spicy food. In return, I will kill whoever you let me slap to death with my claws." The next 3 groups of boys will run the 100-meter race, get ready. In the afternoon physical education class, Rikuo Nura stood on the track in sportswear, preparing for the 100-meter race with 4 other boys. The other 4 boys were all seriously preparing to sprint, but Nura Rikuo stood there unprepared, looking carefree. A girl worriedly reminded, "Nilayong, you should hurry up and get ready, otherwise you will fall behind." Kiyoshiki Kiyasuga, who was watching from the sidelines, stretched out his index finger and shook it and said, No, Kali-san, I have quite a say in the matter of Nura-san. This guy doesn't have to worry at all. Even if he doesn't make any preparations, he can do it. Run!" As soon as the physical education teacher gave the command, Nura Rikuo rushed out with a single stride, instantly throwing away the other students who had been prepared, and completed the 100-meter sprint in less than 10 seconds. Nu Liang Rikuo, running time, 9.15 seconds. Hiss. The physical education teacher was shocked. This guy was a few tenths of a second faster than the world 100-meter sprint champion. Is this guy really a high school student? Kiyoshiki Kiyasugo lifted his bangs and said confidently, look, he can even get the first place. Wow, that's so fast. This can easily break the world record. Oh my god, did I read that right? I actually witnessed a miracle. Are you kidding? It takes about 14 seconds for an ordinary person to reach 100 meters. The world champion only takes 9.86 seconds. He actually ran 9.15 seconds. People who had never seen Nura Rikuo running were all stunned in place, because this broke common sense. The only ones who knew Nura Rikuo were Kiyasuga Kiyoshi and Shina Mahiru, who had seen him before, so they were not surprised. In fact, this is not Nura Rikuo's limit. His limit is 100 meters and 7 seconds. Of course, this is in the human state. If he transforms into a monster, he can appear 100 meters away in the blink of an eye. Nura Rikuo felt that he should express himself as he should, and it would be pointless to hide his clumsiness too much. Immediately, not only the girls, but also the boys gathered around to chat with Rikuo Nurao, and Rikuo Nurao responded with a smile, acting very talkative, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Shina-san, you see Nura-san is also very popular. Yes, Nura-san is handsome and easy to talk to. He is better than a 100-meter runner. If you ask me, ordinary girls are not qualified to walk with him. Shina-san, you and Nora-san are both talented and good-looking, it's a perfect match. There were two girls beside Mahiru Shina. They couldn't help but joke about Mahiru Shina, but what they said was true. Only a handsome man like Rikuo Nura is worthy of a beautiful girl like Mahiru Shina. Sawamura-san, what did you draw in physical education class? On the other side of the playground, a girl with blonde hair and twin tails and a face as fair as a porcelain doll was seriously drawing on a notebook with a pen. A passing boy who thought he was handsome came up to talk to him. After seeing the man drawn in Sawamura Ari's book, he immediately felt ashamed of his face like a local dog. I saw that the boy in the painting is a young man. Although it has not been painted yet, his handsome face seems to be heartbreakingly handsome. His tall nose, deep eyes, and perfect facial features are put together to form an extremely handsome man. But this hair is a little different from ordinary people. It is slanted to one side and very long. The man couldn't help but exclaimed, "Wow, who is this? He's so handsome. He's so handsome that he doesn't even look like someone who should exist in this world." Sawamura Iri glanced at the boy lightly, then looked at her painting, with a soft color in her eyes. "It's nothing, I'm just drawing my ideal type." Ari Sawamura knew that there would be free activities in the second half of the physical education class, so she came with drawing props in advance, just to pass the time and draw the person in her heart. Soon, many people came to watch because of the boy's exclamations, and they exploded after seeing the portrait painted by Ari Sawamura. Because the handsome man in the painting is 100 times more handsome than the stars on TV. What's going on? Why are there so many people around there? Lu Sheng, let's go take a look. Kyoko Kiyasugu and Nura Rikuo were holding a bottle of drink in their hands. They had just gone to buy something from a nearby vending machine. When they came back, they found that their classmates who had been scattered were gathered together. Know what is being discussed? Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 12. What's wrong? Nura Rikution took a sip of the drink in his hand and looked at the classmates with confusion. They looked very excited, which was confusing. The two came to the crowd and listened to the discussions of the people around them before they learned the reason. Kiyoshiji Kiyoshi curled his lips and said narcissistically, "What? It turns out I just drew a handsome guy, but in terms of handsomeness, who can be more handsome than Rikuo? Since he is not as handsome as Rikuo, how can he be more handsome than me? It's just a farce." Some people couldn't stand it and immediately retorted, "Kingshi, what are you talking about? You're talking arrogantly without even looking at it. Your appearance can't even be compared to Nu Liang's. You're too narcissistic." Yes, and the person in Sawamura-san's painting is indeed handsome. Although Nu Liang is very handsome, he is still much worse than the person in the painting. TCH, you are jealous. Here is the painting. Let me take a look. Kiyoshi didn't believe that anyone could be more handsome than him or Nura Rikuo, but after taking the painting, he was still shocked when he saw the appearance of the person in the painting. Isn't this the monster lord who saved him before? So Sawamura Iri has also met this monster lord. Oh my god, I have found a like-minded comrade. Kiyoshiki Kiyasuga was very excited because he encountered a monster when he was in elementary school, but he was saved by a monster lord, the man in the painting. Although the monster he saw had a green face, like a child, but he is almost the same as the person in the painting in front of me, and he obviously looks like he has grown up. He quietly glanced at Eri Sawamura, but didn't say anything now. Instead, he turned to look at his left hand and patted him on the shoulder. Lu Sheng, you really failed this time. You are indeed not as good as the one in the painting people. Really? I didn't say I was the most handsome. What's the point? Let me see. Nurarikuo took one look at the painting and was immediately speechless. Isn't it him who he is meowing? Am I not as handsome as myself? But what he was curious about was why his appearance was circulated here. Did Sawamura Iri see his monster appearance and draw it? While Rikuo Nura was thinking, a boy said nonchalantly, "Don't worry, Nura-san. This painting is just a painting, and it is fake. It was just painted by Sawamura-san according to his best imagination. In reality, it is not. This person does not exist." Who says it doesn't exist? The person I painted does exist. Because I have seen it, that's why I painted his appearance. Sawamura Iri took the painting from Nurarikuo's hand, her face full of confidence. Does such a person really exist? Really or not, who is that person? Sawamura-san, can you reveal his identity? After learning that the people in the painting were real, the students all asked curiously. Nurarikuo looked at Sawamura Iri's face. Well, it seemed familiar. When had he seen it? For a moment, Nurarikuo couldn't remember. After all, it was impossible for him to remember every little thing. But fortunately, this matter didn't last too long, and Nurarikuo thought about it for a few seconds. By the way, I should have rescued Eri Sawamura a month ago. Nurarikushin recalled it. A month ago at night, Rikuo Nura rode a flying little monster and wandered around the human city in boredom. Ordinary people could not see the monster unless the monster took the initiative to show up. This is because humans' instinctive fear of monsters causes human eyes to naturally not want to lose sight of monsters. He accidentally encountered a snake demon who kidnapped a woman and ran wildly on the street. Out of curiosity, Nilayong Rikushin asked the flying demon to follow the snake demon in the sky until it stopped in a moving villa. Just wait for me nearby and I'll go in and take a look. Young master, please be careful. After the flying monster finished speaking, it slowly floated away. I didn't expect that I would gain something unexpected once I came out. It's interesting. Nurarikushin looked at the magnificent villa in front of him with a sneer on his face. He could feel no less than 40 strands of monster energy coming from this villa. With so many monsters that did not belong to the Nura group gathered together, it was obviously a black household. Nurarikushin saw 2 guards at the door of the villa. They were just 2 low-class monsters, not even small monsters. They were obviously monsters that had just transformed into human form. But even a low-level monster is still a powerful monster for humans. It can ignore bullets, has a physique that can easily kill a fighting champion, and can run 100 meters in just a few seconds. This is a monster with unique strength, far from being human. Comparable. Nurarikushin didn't think much, put his hands in the sleeves of the blue kimono, and walked over in a swaggering manner. The strange thing was that the 2 demons guarding the door seemed not to have seen Nurarikushin and allowed him to walk in openly. However, they really didn't see that this was one of Nurarikuo's abilities as a slippery ghost, mirror flowers, and water moon. The slippery ghost is a fantasy monster, and all its tricks are derived from the principle of the moon reflecting in the water. It seems false and real at the same time, making it difficult for people to recognize, just like the moon reflecting in the water. Mirror flowers and water moon can not only create illusions, but also make those who see themselves feel that they are nothingness, that is, they do not exist. Even if the monster is equal to his own strength, he may not be able to break the mirror, let alone a group of monsters whose strength is far weaker than his own. Nurarikushin easily entered through the wall of the villa and saw a lively atmosphere. There are currently more than 20 monsters on the first floor of the villa. They are all small monsters and low-class monsters. They are weak and pitiful. Nuliang Riko Shengxing stood clearly among them, but no one could spot him. Nurarikushin sniffed and smelled the scent of humans. He followed the scent of humans and walked up to the second floor. There are many rooms on the second floor, and there are many monsters in their respective rooms. Some are sleeping and some are doing dirty things. Boss, we have captured so many women on the territory of the Nuliang group. Will it attract the people of the Nuliang group to take action? Yes, the entire Kanto region is the territory of the Nura group. We, the Shaitai group, simply cannot fight against this behemoth. There were voices of discussion coming from the sixth room on the right. He walked straight over and then entered through the wall. This house is very large, and is the master bedroom. It is about 30 square meters in size. There are a total of 6 demons, 5 demon soldiers, and 1 demon general. They seem to be the leaders and cadres of this snake group. There was a sack on the side, and in this sack was the woman they kidnapped. As before, none of these monsters saw Riku Nura in the mirror after he entered the room. Kato Ying, the leader of the Shaitai group, sat on the sofa and said arrogantly, "Don't be afraid, the Nura group is already in the dusk period. Although they still occupy the entire Kanto, everyone knows that the Nura group will soon be defeated by a 16-year-old. It's ridiculous to say that the little ghosts have succeeded. The dignified Nuliang group, the fearless 100-ghost night walk, has turned into what it is now. I'm afraid many groups of monsters will come back to take a share of the pie." One cadre was still worried and said, "Here, boss, although the third generation of the Nuragumi is 16 years old, he is also the grandson of a sly ghost. It's not too bad, and there are many masters in the Nuragumi family. We are here, committing a crime against the wind. Please beg for data support such as flowers, evaluation votes, monthly votes, etc. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing." Chapter 13. Kato Ying dodged with a slap in the air, and a green demonic force knocked him away and hit the wall. The cadre immediately vomited blood, and the other cadres were silent. Kato Ying scolded, "Look at how cowardly you are. How did you become a cadre of our Snake Tai group? How did you become a demon soldier? It's really shameful. There are so many cadres in the Nura group, and they will definitely not support a person who is only capable of demon soldiers at most. If the brat from the military realm stands above them and gives orders, there will definitely be civil strife. I'm afraid there are already many forces ready to take action now, and they have no time to take care of us. So what about the grandson of the slippery ghost, a mere waste with a quarter of the blood of monsters?" Nura Rikuo listened to Kato Oi's disparaging words, but he didn't take it to heart and looked at the room casually, because there was no need to take the dying man's words as words. Kato Ying stopped talking and looked at the people on the side. "Bai King, how about the blood food you brought back today?" Bai King immediately responded, "Boss, the woman I brought back tonight is much better than the previous 2 times. She is a mixed-race Japanese and English woman. She is about 16 years old. She should be a high school student. She has beautiful appearance and fair skin. She is definitely it's the best, guaranteed to satisfy the boss." Hearing this, Kato Ying became interested and said, "Oh? Open the bag and show it to me." When the next person stepped forward and untied the sack, a girl with blonde hair and twin tails was revealed. Kato Oriole, who likes women, was immediately attracted to her. This smooth blonde hair, porcelain-like skin, and beautiful appearance are indeed several notches better than before, and she is also of mixed race. "It tastes really wonderful, not bad, very good, ha ha ha. When I have enough fun, I can eat her in one bite. It will definitely increase my demonic power." Kato Ying was very satisfied. With a finger of his right hand, a green demonic power penetrated into the girl's body, causing the comatose girl to wake up in a daze. Where am I?" After Sawamura Iri opened her eyes, she found herself lying on the ground surrounded by several completely unknown men. What happened? Isn't she sleeping at home? Why does she appear in this strange place? Who are you and where are you? Sawamura Iri suddenly became frightened. Could this be a kidnapping? This is the first time in my life that I have encountered this kind of thing. Oh, you are already afraid of me before you reveal your identity as a monster, so humans are the best source of fear, ha ha ha. Kato Oriole felt the fear emanating from Eri Sawamura and laughed 3 times. Although he himself did not have awakened fear, he could acquire more fear from humans, and it was not certain that he could also possess it. After Sawamura Iri stood up, she kept backing up and said with a trembling tone, "What are you talking about? What kind of monster body are you talking about? Let me go. Do you want money? My dad can give you money, as long as you let go. With me, everything is negotiable. It seems you haven't understood the situation yet, human being." Kato Oriole said interestingly, and her head suddenly changed from a human head to a snake head. Ah, monster! This scene made Eri Sawamura dilate her pupils and scream out in fear. Monster! How could there be monsters in this world? Aren't monsters a legendary creature? There can't be monsters in this world, and now she is kidnapped by a monster? Monsters have always been legends in human society, because 99% of people have never seen monsters with their own eyes, and even if the 1% of people have seen monsters and told them about them, no one will believe them. Therefore, monsters have become popular over time. It became a legend. Unless monsters appear in the public eye, even if tens of thousands of people have seen them, hundreds of millions of people have not seen them, and they are still just legends among all humans. Fear continued to spread in Sawamura Eri's heart, but as she backed away, her back seemed to hit something. She turned around and saw nothing. What happened? And this scene was also seen by Kato Ying and others. They didn't set up any barrier in the room, so why did the woman lean against something? Who's there? Kato Ying stood up suddenly and looked behind Sawamura Iri defensively, while other cotters also reacted and prepared for battle. A burst of black smoke suddenly dispersed behind Sawamura Eri, showing first the head of Nurarikuo, then the upper body, and finally the lower body. Sawamura Iri's eyes widened. She stared at the handsome man in front of her in disbelief. Who is this? Is he also a monster? Why are there such handsome monsters? It is said that the three senses follow the five senses. At this moment, she finally understood why there was a legend about the love between a human and a demon. Bai King waved his right hand forward, and a sword appeared in his hand. He pointed at Nilayong Lushan and asked, "Who are you? You are so courageous. You actually dared a demon to enter our snake tie group by virtue of your ability to be invisible. Say, who are you?" Nilayong Lushan's face was indifferent. "I am the master of demons and monsters, a slippery ghost." Just now, Rikuo Nura saw Eri Sawamura retreating towards him. He didn't hide away and let the other party bump into him. This way, his appearance would not be so abrupt and he could have a more handsome appearance. Sure enough, just like what Nilayong Lushan thought. "What, slippery ghost, you are the grandson of the rumored big monster, slippery ghost." When Kato Yingji heard this, he suddenly broke into a cold sweat. Didn't he say that the grandson of the slippery ghost was only 1/4 monster and 3/4 was a waste of human blood? You are afraid. The corner of Nilayong Lushan's mouth raised. Once he is afraid of monsters, then monsters that are afraid can rob the enemy of their fear. Immediately afterwards, a powerful aura was released from Nurarikuo. This is the first stage of fear, screaming, which means using aura to intimidate the enemy, just like the Overlord color in One Piece and the spiritual pressure in Bleach. Under the impact of Nurariku's fear, both Kato Ying and several other cotters all took a few steps back, sweating profusely, which only aggravated the fear in their hearts. Damn it, die. Bai King couldn't bear it anymore. He raised the sword in his hand and sprinted forward to strike. Nurarikushin put his left hand around Sawamura Iri's, half-turned and raised his right arm, and in his palm was a ball of blue flames bloom. Bai Kang's sword was unable to move forward as it struck the flames. Instead, it was stained with blue fire, which instantly spread to Bai Kang's arms. Ah! The high-temperature karmic fire burned it away in 2 seconds, leaving nothing behind. Kato Ying said with disbelief, "What? What kind of flame is this? Not only is it blue, Bai King will die if he touches it. So awesome." Sawamura Iri stared blankly at Nurarikuo's handsome face. Being hugged by him made her body feel inexplicably hot. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 14. You dare to do evil things on the territory of our Nilayong group. You really think your life is too long? Nurarikuo stared at the 5 people in front of him with his strange red pupils. He held the girl in his left hand and raised his right hand. Blue flames lifted Kato Oriole and the 5 people into the air. Yahuo is now Nuliang's strongest attack method. It can be controlled like an arm and a finger. It can not only attack in a straight line, but also restrain the enemy. It has a variety of ways to use it. Ah, let me go. Boss, help. Damn it, I can't get away, and it feels so hot. How could this happen? You are just a monster with only 1/4 of monster blood, and you are still a young boy. Why are you so strong? Not even Kato Oriole, who has the strength of a demon general, can resist. Pitifully weak. Nilayong Lushan clenched his right hand, and the karma fire wrapped around the 5 people directly burned them into ashes, and they were not even qualified to resist. The leader of the Shaitai group is in the demon general realm, but he has little fighting power. Some monsters in the demon soldier realm can fight with him. Sawamura Iri, who was held in Nurarikuo's arms, was like a docile kitten, timidly saying, thank you for saving me. After hearing this, Nurarikushin lowered his head and looked at the other person. She was a rare beautiful girl. He raised the other person's chin with his skill, and the two met each other's eyes. The corner of Nurarikushin's mouth curled up. Aren't you afraid that I will compete with them for prey again and then eat you? Sawamura Iri's heart tightened, but then she said firmly, No, Yokai-sama, you are so strong, you can kill so many monsters with just a raise of your hands, you don't need to fight with them at all, and, Yokai-sama, it's so beautiful, it definitely won't eat people. Ha ha ha, you are quite interesting. You are right. I don't even bother to eat people. There are some insignificant ants down there. Come on, I will take you out of here. Nurarikushin said proudly, then stretched out his hand and naturally took Sawamura Iri's hand. Her hand was held, and her body followed Nurarikushin forward. Looking at the strong and charming back in front of her, Sawamura Iri's heart kept beating faster. The Lord of Demons and Demons, a slippery ghost? Sawamura Iri remembered the monsters who had just asked Nurarikuo about his origins, and this was the answer he gave. What kind of monster is slippery? Sawamura Iri was not interested in monsters before, but now she has a strong curiosity. Nurarikushin was walking in the corridor, with rooms on both sides. However, when he passed by, as long as there was a monster in the room, blue flames would be inexplicably ignited on his body, and even the screams would disappear before they could be heard. All the way downstairs, Nurarikushin did not use Jinghua Suijutsu because he wanted to destroy these disgusting snakes, so he naturally had to appear in front of them openly. Who? There is an intruder. As soon as Rikuo Nura came down the stairs, the monsters of the Jetta group saw him. They quickly revealed their bodies, and a strong monster aura filled the entire villa. As a human, Eri Sawamura felt cold and shivered. Hey, calm down, don't scare the beauty behind me. Nurarikuo released his own demonic energy, and directly suppressed the demonic energy of the Jetta group back easily, which greatly increased the pressure on these monsters, like a mountain pressing on them. Beauty, are you talking about me? Eri Sawamura touched her hot cheeks with embarrassment. At this moment, she had always been regarded as a beautiful girl by outsiders, the most beautiful girl in junior high school, but now she felt a little unsure of herself. Go up, destroy the intruders. A group of monsters with snake heads rushed towards him. Nurarikuo continued to hold Sawamura Eri's waist with his left hand, and took out a knife from nowhere with his right hand. The black handle was half of the blade, and there were blue stripes on the blade. But what's shocking is that the blade is full of cracks, so densely packed that it seems like it will shatter to the ground if touched. Nurarikushin raised his sword and joked, scatter it away, the devil's sword has 1,000 blades. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw that the blade of the knife in his hand quickly shattered into pieces from the tip. In just 1 second, the entire blade turned into thousands of pieces, leaving only the handle of the knife that was still covered by Nurarikushin. Hold it in your hand. Go. Nurarikushin shouted, and 1001 pieces of magic knife fragments flew towards the monsters that rushed towards them. In just a moment, the 40 monsters were all covered with blade fragments, and they looked terrible. The blade is released in 1 second, and the battle ends in 1 second, a perfect ending. This. Sawamura Iri looked at the miserable scene around her and felt a turmoil in her heart. It was not because she was afraid of the death of these monsters. With this handsome monster in front of her, she felt that she had nothing to fear. The reason for the shock was just because Nurarikuo was too strong. He was obviously just a person, no, just a monster, but he could destroy so many monsters at once. The gap between monsters and monsters was also too big. Nuliang Lushan put away the magic sword Jianbian boldly, and said ruthlessly, if you are so weak, you still imitate others to grab territory. It would be a shame to die. Then Rikuo Nura took Eri Sawamura outside, looked at the slightly uneasy Eri Sawamura, and said with a smile, don't be nervous, I said I won't eat people, and I shouldn't look scary. As he said that, Nurarikuo touched his handsome face. Among yokai, his appearance must be one of the best. No. It's not scary. It's also very good looking. Is this your true face? Sawamura Iri was a little curious. Those monster snakes just now seemed to have a certain appearance, but when the prototypes were revealed, they were too scary. Those handsome looks were simply changes and were not real at all. I am different from those ugly monsters. I am an elegant slippery ghost. This appearance now is my true body, not a change. Nura Rikushin whistled, and within a few seconds, a monster with a long body flew over. The two of them were riding on the monster's head. Sawamura Iri felt very magical. It was so dreamy tonight. She was originally sleeping at home, but the monster kidnapped her from home unknowingly. I thought I would definitely die, and would suffer humiliation before I died. Unexpectedly, I met an extremely handsome monster and saved me. Now I am still riding on a flying monster. I am very interested in Eri Sawamura, who has always been an ordinary person. In other words, such a bizarre experience was like a dream. Where do you live? Point me in the direction and I'll take you back. I live there. Sawamura Iri pointed to the east. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 15. Sawamura Iri is sitting in front, and Nurarikuo is right behind Sawamura Iri. Their bodies are close to each other, making Sawamura Iri's mind wander, but Nurarikuo is calm as usual. We are flying in the sky, can't people on the ground see us? Sawamura Iri looked at the people on the ground. They were not flying very high, about 100 or 10 meters. People on the ground should be able to see them as long as they raised their heads. But she discovered that there were people on the ground who would raise their heads, but they didn't even notice they were flying in the sky. It's impossible for ordinary humans to see monsters. Nurarikushin explained casually, and not long after, under the guidance of Sawamura Iri, they came to a villa, which was Sawamura Iri's home. Although it is not as good as the villa of the Sheitai group just now, it is still very good. She is a young lady from a wealthy family. My room is right there. Sawamura Iri pointed to a room with an open window on the second floor. Nurariko gave birth and then picked up Princess Sawamura Iri, then jumped off the flying monster and entered the room through the window. Nurarikushin took a look at the furnishings in the room and said, "Okay, it's getting late, so I won't disturb you. Go to bed early." After finishing speaking, Nurarikuo turned around and planned to leave, but before he took 2 steps, the sleeve of his kimono was pulled. Etc. What, is there anything else? Can I know your name? My name is... Before Eri Sawamura could say her name, Rikuo Nura interrupted, "There's no need, let's say goodbye tonight. We won't have any communication in the future, and we won't see each other again, even if we know each other's name. It won't be of any use, then, that's it." Nurarikuo jumped from the room onto the flying monster, and walked away into the distance without looking back. Sawamura Iri stood by the window and looked at Nurarikuo, who had disappeared from sight, feeling empty and uncomfortable. We won't meet again in the future. Eri Sawamura felt a little lost. She sighed and turned on her computer. She entered the word slicker in the search box and pressed the enter key. She wanted to know what kind of monster Slippery was. However, after learning about Slippery from the internet, she felt that the information on the internet was not reliable at all. The words bald old man, cunning like a fox were all derogatory, and completely different from what she had seen. After Nurarikuo's recollection ended, he took a closer look at Sawamura Iri and found that she was indeed the woman he had rescued earlier. This was really fate. Sawamura-san, is the handsome guy in this painting someone you know? Who is he? Yes, can you reveal it? It can't be the person you have a crush on. It's not a big deal for everyone to watch the excitement. Even if they know who the other party is, it has nothing to do with them, but people always like to gossip. Nurarikushin listened to the boring questions of those classmates and walked aside to drink his drink without interest. Facing the students' questions, Sawamura Iri replied coyly, well, he is indeed the person I like. Puff. The drink Nurarikushin had just drank spurted out of his mouth, and then he turned to look at Sawamura Iri. No way, I saved him, but I didn't expect this woman to have evil intentions and actually covet his body. When the students heard this, they all looked in disbelief. However, if you think about it, the man in the painting is too handsome. But this is just a painting. If a real person appeared in front of me, not everyone would be able to control it. Just after school, Kiyashiji Kiyoshi came to Nurarikushin excitedly and said loudly, "Rikushin, I want to set up a club that specializes in investigating monsters, called Kiyashiji Strange Detective Team. There are already several members. Yes, you will definitely join. How many members? There were a few in junior high school, including Shimajiro, Ina Famitsu, Natsumi Torii, and Mariki Sayori, but now they are not in the same school as us after high school, so you mentioned several who are there. The 4 people Nurarikuo mentioned were students of the same school as Nurarikuo and Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu, both in elementary school and junior high school. When they were in elementary school, they even went to school together on the bus. But now that they are in high school, only he and Kiyoshiki Kiitsugu are still in the same school, and what's more, they are in the same class. As for the other 4, they have all gone to other universities separately. Kyoko Kiitsugu stretched out his index finger and shook it. Tisk, 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 me, you, and Sawamura-san, there are just 3 of us, and I will recruit other students to join us in exploring the mystery of monsters. Eri Sawamura. Nurarikushin raised his eyebrows, but he never expected that Eri Sawamura would also join. Yes, I talked to her, and she is also very interested in monsters. Let's go to the student union to apply for the club classroom. Nurarikushin waved his hand and said, I won't go to apply for the club classroom. The club activities won't start until tomorrow, so I'll leave first. Qing Shiking continued, Tisk, Lu Sheng, this guy really does his own thing. Forget it, just forgive this guy. But I didn't expect Eri Sawamura to have met the Lord of Monsters a month ago. It was so cool. When can I see him again? I'm really looking forward to it. Kiyoshiji Kiyoshi fantasizes that he can still see Nurarikuo in the form of a monster, because he has seen Nurarikuo in the form of a monster and was saved before he became so obsessed with monsters. Nurarikuo walked out of school leisurely. After leaving the school, a fat and cute lucky cat jumped on Nurarikuo's shoulder from the side. Madara licked his paw and said, Hey Rikuo, are you going home now? Nurarikushin replied nonchalantly, School is over, so of course I have to go home. Oh, by the way, can your family support me? I need to eat a lot of things in one meal. Madara is a little suspicious. He still doesn't know the specific identity of Nurariku. He only knows that he is also a demon and that he is very young. But for some reason, he doesn't have any hostility towards Nurariku and is very close to him. Nurarikushin grabbed Madara by the back of his neck and lifted him up. He stared at the fat, white, and even funny big-headed cat in front of him and said, Don't worry, I will eat and drink without you. Like this, meow, I'll be relieved, hee. Madara's eyes narrowed into a crescent arc. He was very satisfied with Nurarikuo's words, and he looked rather wretched. By the way, you can fly, right? Madara patted his chest and said proudly, Of course, I, Lord Madara, can do anything from the sky to the sea, including flying. Oh, then I will have a mount for my future travels. Nurarikuo looked at Madara with a smirk on his face. Although he could fly after turning into a monster, only poor people could fly by themselves. People with status and reputation would find mounts. In the past, his mount was always a flying monster with monster strength, which was not very popular, but now it is different. This Madara is the Monster King, and his body is also a cat monster similar to a fox. He is huge and handsome. Can fly and is suitable as a mount. What, UBD actually used me as a mount, look at the claws. When he heard that he was asked to be his mount, Madara's hair suddenly exploded, and he showed his sharp cat's claws and was about to scratch Nurarikushin's face. Nurarikuo laughed, threw Madara out, and ran away without saying a word, while Madara chased after him with his short legs. Has anyone read it? If you are interested in this book, please vote for some flowers, evaluation votes, monthly votes, and other data. It is very important during the new book period. Thank you. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 16. Well, is it raining? Nurarikuo took a look at the weather. There were dark clouds in the sky, and raindrops continued to fall. The rain was not light. The summer rain was so unexpected. He remembered that he had the umbrella that Yukiana put in his school bag. Nurarikuo took out an umbrella from his school bag to cover himself, while Madara jumped behind Nurarikuo and jumped on his head. Madara looked at his hair and breathed a sigh of relief. Hey! I almost fell into the water. In fact, Nurarikuo can control the sky to make the weather clear, but he doesn't think it is necessary. He also likes rainy days inexplicably. He likes the sound of the rain falling on the ground and the atmosphere of rain. Speaking of which, Lu Sheng, I don't know what your true identity is yet. Please reveal it quickly. Madara is very curious about Nurarikuo's identity, and it is puzzling why a monster goes to school in human society. I'm a slippery man. Oh? Slippery guy, you are not simple. Madara raised his eyebrows, rarely getting serious. The slicker ghost was not an unknown monster. On the contrary, he was a big monster with a great reputation in the monster world, and he could activate the night parade of 100 ghosts. Monsters are also divided into 3, 6, or 9 grades. Some monsters are trash when they are born, while some monsters stand above all monsters as soon as they are born. Therefore, casting a good fetus is not only useful in human society, but also in the world of monsters, and this slippery ghost is the kind of big monster who stands above all monsters. But it's obvious that Nurarikuo is still very young, and can even be said to be shamelessly young. Nuliang Rikuo said, "It's not bad. Soon I will inherit the family business and become a demon and the master of 100 ghosts at night." Madara exclaimed, "What, you little guy, you are already a naughty guy, but you can still inherit the family business, aren't you working hard on your own?" "Working hard? What is that? My family has paved the way for me. Why do I need to work hard? Isn't it good to inherit the family business? The entire land of Kanto is the territory of my Nuliang group." "Yokai." Madara's head is covered with black lines. It turns out that this kid is a second-generation demon, but that's okay, he can worry less. Nurarikuo was walking slowly while holding an umbrella, and suddenly found a girl wearing the same school uniform as him sitting on Kyunkaiu next to the toilet on the left front. When he looked carefully, oh, he was still someone he knew. Shina Mahiru, it's just that she was sitting alone on the swing, and she didn't use an umbrella when it rained, just getting wet, and Nurarikuo could see from her eyes that the other party was in a very low mood, revealing a sad. Nurarikushin warned Madara, "Madara, don't talk when I'm with humans, you know." "Tch, I know, I don't know why you, a monster, are so deeply involved in living in the human world." Madara curled his lips, somewhat confused about Nurarikuo's behavior. Monsters have their own affairs in their own world. When dealing with humans, they usually attack and intimidate humans, and they have a deep contempt for humans. Nurarikuo said nonchalantly, "Well, because I am a half-demon and my mother is a human." Madara unexpectedly sniffed Nurarikuo, "Are you a half-demon? No wonder, after turning into a human, there is no demonic aura on your body at all, and you can't even see through it. As long as it is a monster, the appearance of a human is only temporary, because it is a monster itself, and the human appearance is just a transformation, so there will be more or less monsters on the body, no matter how well it is hidden, it cannot be covered up. But Nurarikuo is different. He is a half-demon, and his human appearance is not changed. In other words, humans and monsters are his own forms. He can be a human or a monster, whatever he wants." Nurarikuo stood in front of Shina Mahiru holding an umbrella and asked, "Shina-san, are you worried about sitting here alone in the rain? You will catch a cold if you get wet in the rain." "Nuliang-san." Mahiru Shina was sitting on the swing and raised her head and looked at Rikuo Nura in surprise. She was so absorbed in thinking that she didn't even notice when Nura was standing in front of her. She looked at the boy in front of her who had been in the same class as her since childhood and responded, "I just want to experience what it feels like to be caught in the rain. You don't have to worry about me." After saying that, Shina Mahiru lowered his head. Although the two had always been in the same class, they had not had much interaction. They only looked at each other occasionally and nodded, or exchanged a few words. They were not very familiar. Nuliang Lushan naturally didn't believe it, but he didn't expose it, saying, "If you really want to experience being caught in the rain, you will catch a cold. The cold will be very uncomfortable, and it won't be cured in a day or two. If you really want to experience being caught in the rain, you can showering at home has the same effect. You probably didn't bring an umbrella, so I'll give you one." Meow. Madara, who was lying on Nurarikushin's head, looked confused. "No, what's the situation with you? I gave my umbrella to someone else. I wonder if my cat's hair would feel uncomfortable if it got wet from the rain. How about you?" Shina Mahiru wanted to refuse, but couldn't help but took the umbrella offered by Rikuo Nura. "After all, we have been in the same class for so many years, so you should know my physical condition. Colds are far away from me." Shina Mahiru didn't say anything, as if it was true. She knew that Nurarikuo was very talented in sports and must have good physical fitness. At the same time, another boy wearing the same school uniform was walking by the roadside holding an umbrella. He noticed two figures from the corner of his eye, stopped and looked over. That's Angel from the next class, and Rikuo Nura. Do they have a good relationship? Fujimiya Joe was puzzled. Regarding these two people, even he, as an ordinary student, knew that those two people were actually too famous in the first grade. Everyone knew about them on the first day of school. Angel Shina Mahiru, because she looks cute and beautiful, and always smiles like an angel when getting along with people, so she was given the title of Angel. And Mahiru Shina is not the only one, there is also a beautiful blonde girl in their class, who is of mixed Japanese and English descent. She is also very beautiful, and she is also the eldest daughter of a rich family, so she is called a princess. As for Nura Rikuo, because of his handsomeness and excellent grades, he caused a stir in the school on the first day of school and became completely famous. Fujimiya Shoto glanced at Shina Mahiru. In fact, there was one thing that others didn't know. That was that he and Shina Mahiru were living together. They lived in the same apartment, on the same floor, and in two adjacent rooms. Shina Mahiru came a month ago. Although the two of them made no progress, they got to know each other's names before school started, and they would say hello when they met when going out. This was already quite good progress for Shu Fujimiya. To be honest, Shu Fujimiya has no idea about the beautiful Mahiru Shina. But now, seeing the close relationship between Nura Rikuo and Shina Mahiru, I can't help but feel disgusted. Thinking of this, Fujimiya Shu laughed at himself. What does it have to do with him? Why should I eat dog food here when others are talking about you and me, and then walked away. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 17. Thanks. Shina Mahiru looked at the umbrella in her hand and thanked Nura Rikuo, who turned his back to her and left. Nuliang Lushan did not look back, but stretched out his right hand and waved to say goodbye. Mahiru Shina tilted her head, curious about the big fat cat on top of Rikuo Nurao's head. This cat is so fat and has a big head. Wouldn't it feel heavy on top of Nura-san's head? Madara lay on top of Nura Rikushin's head, squinting his eyes and saying, Rikushin, you gave your umbrella to someone else, what should we do? Nura Rikushin joked, is it possible that you, a monster, are afraid of getting caught in the rain and catching a cold? Idiot, how could that happen? I'm just thinking about my beautiful fur, meow. Madara shook his plump body, and a lot of rainwater was thrown off his fur. Nuliang Lushan rolled his eyes upwards and said with disdain, what hair does a fat cat with a big head care about? Are you looking for a little female cat? Bah, do you think I am really a cat? What kind of little female cat are you looking for? You are an ignorant guy. About 20 minutes later, a man and a cat stood at the door of a large house that was incompatible with the high-rise buildings outside. This is the headquarters of the Nuragumi family. This large house exudes an extremely primitive atmosphere. After all, this is a house with a history of more than 400 years. It covers a large area. There are pools, trees, rockeries, flowing water, etc. in the yard. After all, there are hundreds of animals living in it. There are monsters there, and there is a barrier. Ordinary people cannot enter or see this place without someone leading them. Oh, the young master is back from school. Great, the young master is back. Come in quickly, young master. It's still raining outside. Why didn't you hold an umbrella? Yes, young master, you are in a human state now. I remember that human bodies are prone to colds. Young master, go take a bath in the bathhouse first to get rid of the coldness on your body. Nura Rikuo had just come back, and all the monsters in his family came out to greet him enthusiastically. As Hwatio Yugui, the first-generation general of the Nura group, and the grandson of Nuliang Hualao, Nuliang Rikuo is loved by everyone in his family, and now he is the candidate for the third-generation general, and is the leader of the entire Nuliang family. The core of the group. Is this your base camp? It looks very nice. Madara looked around with his eyes. In his perception, although most of them were low-level monsters, there were also several auras with good strength. Young master. You're back. Oh, why are you so wet? Didn't I put an umbrella in your school bag, Snow Girl? Why didn't it work? A cute-looking Snow Girl wearing a white kimono ran out of the yard. When she saw Riku Nura being wet, she fiddled with Riku Nura in panic. Nura Rikushin grabbed the Snow Girl's hand and said gently, it's okay, Bingley, I gave the umbrella away. Giving it to someone else? It's a woman. Based on women's sixth sense, Yuki Ana Oikawa Hingrei immediately deduced that the person Rikuo Nura sent the umbrella to must be a woman. Such a keen intuition. Nuliang Lu Sheng thought in his heart. Madara, who was lying on Nura Rikuo's head, pointed at Oikawa Hingrei with his short flesh ball claws and said, "You snow girl is quite interesting, you guessed it right away, hee hee." "Hey? Cat, young master, where did you pick up this talking cat? It's so fat and has such a big head. It's so ugly." Oikawa Hingrei covered the lower half of her face with her sleeves, looking very sad with disgust. "What are you talking about? You actually said I'm ugly. I'll fight with you." Madara was instantly furious, showing off his sharp cat claws and pounced to catch Oikawa Hingrei. However, Oikawa Hingrei opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of white cold air, which actually froze Madara into an ice cube, and then fell to the ground with a thud. But 3 seconds later, Madara shattered the ice that was freezing him, and then shuddered, feeling that his head was freezing. Madara wanted to pounce on him, but Nurarikuo grabbed the short white tail. "Hang up," he said. "Okay, stop making trouble, Bingley, his name is Madara, and he will also be a member of our Nuliang group from now on." Spot. Oikawa Hingrei looked at Madara with disdain. He looked like an ordinary cat. There was nothing special about him except that he could talk. But since it was Nurarikuo, the Yukiana wouldn't say much. "I'm going to take a dip in the bathhouse first. It's uncomfortable to be soaked all over." I want it too." Madara jumped up to catch up with Rikuo Nura and headed to the bathhouse together. When Nura Rikushin passed by the pool, he saw a kappa with an eggshell on his head and a ninja costume sitting leisurely on a lotus leaf soaking in the rain. He said, "Hello, hey, kappa, this rainy day is your favorite. The weather is nice, enjoy it." The kappa opened his eyes and replied, "Yes, young master." "Hey, young master, why did you come back with a fat-headed cat? Is it a snack for the general?" "Idiot, you are a kappa wearing an eggshell, who are you talking about as a snack?" Madara is so angry, why are these two people saying so irritating things? A cat can actually talk. The kappa was shocked. On the surface, Madara did not have any demonic aura, just like an ordinary cat. That was because the image of the lucky cat was now his container, just like the human state of Nurariku. He could only regain his true form. There is evil spirit revealed. Rikuo Nura came to the bathhouse. The bathhouse was filled with steam. Rikuo Nura jumped in naked. The warm water washed away the coldness on his body, and Rikuo Nura screamed in comfort. "Aha, I haven't taken a bath for a long time. I didn't expect to be able to take a bath in such a big bathhouse all of a sudden. It's great." Madara's body was floating in the hot water. With his small body, the water in the bathhouse was enough for him to swim. "Young master, would you like some wine to warm yourself up?" Outside the bathhouse, Sumu's figure came, and he could vaguely see a figure with a floating head holding something outside the door. "Wine, Rikuo, I want to drink, I want to drink." Madara jumped up immediately after hearing the drink, dancing in the air. "Xiao Wu, bring in the wine." "Yes." Xiao Wu walked in with a bottle of wine and a cup. Madara couldn't wait to rush out and ordered to Shamu, "You necklace guy, please pour me a glass first and try it. I just heard from Snow Girl that the young master is accompanied by a talking cat. It is indeed true, but this wine is for the young master to warm up." "What kind of wine do you, a cat, drink?" Sumo turned his body slightly to avoid Madara's outstretched cat paw. Nurarikushin soaked his whole body in hot water, leaving only his head, and said, "Xiao Wu, give it to him first. It doesn't matter whether I drink or not." Yes, young master, the commander-in-chief has told you to go to his place to meet him after you take a bath. He said he has something to tell you." After putting down the wine he was carrying, Xiao Wu reported to Nuliang Lushan that Nuliang Hualao was looking for him. Nuliang Rikuo was a little confused. What can happen to the old man? He will be a retired demon soon. Isn't it good to just eat and drink and live a life? He will do this and that for a while. Okay, I understand. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 18. After Shamu left, Madara had already drank a glass of Yaming wine, and after tasting the taste, his eyes lit up. Madara stuck out his tongue to sweeten his lower lip, and squinted his eyes comfortably and asked, "Lu Sheng, what kind of wine is this?" It has a mellow taste and an endless aftertaste. It is very warm in the stomach after drinking it, and the storage time is long enough. It's been more than 50 years, tisk tisk, I've had a lot of wine before, but I've never had such a delicious wine. This is called Yao Ming liquor. It is produced exclusively by our Nuliang group. Of course it is delicious. Don't drink it all for me. Give me some. Nura Rikuo got up from the bath and reached for the wine bottle, but Madara's cunning eyes rolled. He hadn't drunk enough of such good wine, so he jumped up holding the wine bottle with his two short hands, jumping taking advantage of Nura Rikushin's arm. He rushed outside and ran away quickly. This fat cat eats alone without even looking at whose home it belongs. Nuliang Lushan said quite speechlessly, but he didn't pay much attention to it. It was just a bottle of wine. If he didn't want to drink it, he wouldn't drink it. Immediately, he soaked in the bathhouse for more than 10 minutes, put on the clothes that a few little demons brought over, put on a loose black kimono, put on a blue haori and walked out. Walking all the way to a room, I opened the door and saw the old man Nuliang sitting on his knees in the room, drinking a small drink and feeling very comfortable. After Nura Rikushin closed the door, he stood opposite Nura Hualao. He didn't like to sit on his knees, but chose to sit cross-legged. Oh, Rikuo, you're here. Grandpa, what do you want from me? Nura Rikushin picked up the wine bottle and poured himself a glass. He drank it in one sip and felt comfortable. Nuliang Huapiao looked at Nuliang Lu Sheng with a smile and said casually, it's not a big deal, it's just that you have a fiancé who is coming soon. Pfft. Wait, fiancé? Mine. Nura Rikushin almost vomited out the wine he just drank. He was sure he heard correctly. When did he have a fiancé? And he had never had a fiancé before having a banquet? Nuliang Hualao said humorously, of course it's yours, could it be mine? I'd like to, but people don't look down on a bad old man like me. Nura Rikushin's mouth twitched. When did it happen? Which monster is the other party? Absolutely 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was working in the office of the chairman of a large enterprise group. Because the other party offered me too much, I ended up making this marriage in a daze. Nuliang Huapiao touched the back of his head, feeling a little embarrassed. I gave you too much food, and in the end you sold your own grandson. You bad old man, why don't you be satisfied so easily? Nura Rikushin patted the floor in displeasure. His marriage was only worth a meal. Are you kidding me? Are you so worthless? Nura Huapiao said with a wicked smile, no, 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 you misunderstood, it's not a meal, it's money. You also know that our Nura group is the most powerful monster organization in the entire Kanto, and our daily expenses are it's not a small number. Although there are many industries that make money in the human world, who would think it's too much money? The other person is the chairman of a large company in the human world, a super rich man, you know. And I have also seen that female doll. She is really good looking. Now that 5 years have passed, she should be more graceful. The other party also has the intention of clinging to us, and it will not hinder your free life in the future. We monsters are all about the fists speak. And the identity of the other party is both a human and a monster. Nura Rikushin frowned when he heard this, a half-demon like me. Yes and no, Nuliang Hualao gave up and then explained, the other party is an atavistic family. Humans whose ancestors merged with monsters and have monster blood. After generations of humans, the bloodline will appear atavistic. Under certain circumstances, it can change into a monster in the form of a monster, possessing monster blood and the ability to use monster power. This is an atavistic monster. Atavistic demon. Nura Rikushin was a little surprised. The ancestral demon is not a pure demon, and its status is even worse than that of a half-demon. The blood in the body can be awakened, and after awakening, it has the blood and abilities of the ancestors' monster race. Families with atavistic humans are very prosperous, and the family business is like receiving the focus of the god of wealth, and they become very rich. Nuliang Huapia remembered something, touched his chin and said proudly, by the way, they already had a marriage partner at that time and supported each other, but they ended it after meeting me and regarded us as their backers. Although there are monsters in the atavistic monster clan, they are just a few atavistic people. They are still the heritage of several generations. The others are just humans. In order not to be targeted by other powerful monsters, we find a powerful one. A backer is essential. If you really can't find one, the atavistic demon family will support each other with the atavistic demon family. Nuliang Huapiao chuckled, in the past 5 years, the Begui Yuan family has given us a large amount of money every year. Even for the Nuliang group, it is not a small amount, so you understand. Nuliang Lushan held his forehead. He didn't expect that his grandfather would leave him such a mess. It was settled 5 years ago. He only knew it now. Moreover, he had already used the money given by others and did not tell him to give it to him. Use it, it's too shabby. But as Nuliang Hualao said, monsters are not like human society. As long as you have the ability, having 3,000 people in your backyard is not a problem. Nura Rikushan would not resist this. In life, women are also a good seasoning. But he likes to find someone who matches him, and he feels a little uncomfortable when someone like this is forced upon him. But now that the matter has come to this, there is nothing we can do but accept it. Nuliang Hualao stood up and added as he was about to leave, by the way, her name is Begui Yuan Linlandi. The letter said she would come over by herself after school. After saying that, he opened the door, and several monsters who were eavesdropping in the corner rushed in. Crow Tengu, Su Wu, Harry W. Ri, King Dian Fong, Kuroda Fang, Snow Girl. Did you all hear that? Nuliang Huapiao looked at the demons with great interest, especially at the aggrieved face of the Snow Girl. He didn't pay much attention, put his hands in his sleeves and left slowly. As soon as Nuliang Hualao left, several people gathered around Nuliang Lushan and started chattering. Young master, I didn't expect that the general would arrange such a marriage for you. Let me tell you, the group seems to have become a lot richer in recent years. It turns out that the young master's body was used in exchange for it. Wow, we are so ashamed. Isn't it nice to have a super rich in-laws? Little lord. Nura Rikushan couldn't help shouting when he heard the noisy sounds in his ears. Stop making noise, it's making your ears hurt. This time, the world was quiet. Wow, young master, you have a fiancée, what will you do with the Snow Girl? Just after the other demons were frightened by Rikuo Nurao, Oikawa Hingrai threw Rikuo Nurao to the ground. Her body was supported on Rikuo Nurao, and her tears turned into ice and fell down. Young master, if you get married to someone else first, what will I do? I have to obey my mother's words and take away the lips of the leader of the Nuliang group, woo woo woo. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. Chapter 19. Ahem, Bingley, calm down. As Grandpa said, we are monsters, not humans, understand? Nura Rikuo covered his face with his hands. Oikawa Hingrai's tears turned into ice particles and hit his face, causing pain. Got it. Oikawa Hingrai also stopped crying after hearing this, recalling what Nura Huabo had just said to Nura Rikuo, monsters are not humans and do not have as many rules as humans. Monsters believe in the law of the jungle. Whoever punches can dominate everything. There is no law at all. If you understand, start from me. Yes. I'm sorry, young master, I was out of proportion, I'm sorry. Recalling the gaffe she had just made, and the joking looks from Mao Prstut and others, the Snow Girl's thin-skinned face couldn't stop blushing, and she covered her face and ran away quickly. Haha, the Snow Girl is really innocent. Yes, the young master has been taken care of by Xuanu since he was a child. Suddenly I heard that the young master has a fiancée, and I can understand why he lost his temper. The Snow Girl is so cute, ha ha ha. Young master is the third-generation head coach of our Nuliang group. We must not branch out like the first and second generations. It is best to form a football team so that our Nuliang group can continue. Go down. Nuliang Lushan. Near dusk, on a road, there was a beautiful girl with straight black and purple hair, snow-white skin, and extremely cute. She was wearing a white coat and thigh-high pantyhose. She was only less than 1.5 meters tall, but her legs were very with her eye-catching, cute face and height. She is always targeted by people with evil intentions. For example, right now, opposite Begui Yuan Linlandi, a middle-aged man in a suit and leather suit showed a crazy smile. He had been following Begui Yuan Linlandi for more than 10 minutes. He didn't expect this Kawi girl to take the initiative. Entering a deserted alley, God helped me. There was no fear on Begui Yuan Linlandi's face. She crossed her arms across her chest with a look of disgust and said, if you want to do anything, just do it, you wretched and ugly idiot uncle. Begui Yuan Linlandi chose this uncharted road on purpose. Otherwise, how would she deal with this idiot who covets her beauty? As an atavistic monster, Begui Yuan Linlandi is not an ordinary person. She can rely on her own strength to become a monster. In her eyes, ordinary people are just ants that can be crushed to death in one step. He, little sister, since you are so proactive, I won't be polite. The crazy uncle's eyes were shining. She was a beautiful lowly girl. This was the first time he had seen such a beautiful lowly in so many years. As long as he could get it, it didn't matter even if he died immediately. His belly was like fire. He had already couldn't help it anymore. Facing the crazy man holding his arms towards her, Begui Yuan Linlandi lowered her arms, and her purple eyes released a strange purple light. Her demonic power had already affected the surrounding monitoring equipment, so there was no one in the situation here. No. In just a few seconds, a bloodstain appeared on the crazy uncle's neck, and his body fell to the ground weakly. The excitement on his face was no longer there, but there was only boundless fear. Trash fish! Begui Yuan Linlandi exited the demon state, glanced at the corpse of the idiot from the corner of his eye, and then left the place calmly. Speaking of which, where is the head of the Nuliang group? I've been searching for a long time and couldn't find it. It's all because the information given by my father was too confusing. The people from the Nuliang group didn't say they would take over. What's your attitude? I still don't care about the Nuliang group, let's go to the monster hall. Bai Giwan Lin Lindy looked around, but still couldn't find the location of the Nura group's main family, and kicked a stone angrily. She took out an invitation letter from her body. This invitation letter was received by her in the morning. The content of the invitation letter was to invite her to stay in the Demon Mansion. The Demon Mansion is a high-end apartment where atavistic humans live. Attacked by monsters. Because atavistic humans are regarded as a shame by monsters, they have always been a thorn in the side of monsters and want to kill them quickly. The Demon Hall is a place that protects atavistic humans, and there is a powerful bodyguard. Moreover, she also has people she knows in the Demon Hall, which is better than going to the Nuliang group where she has no acquaintances. But she just thought about it. After all, her father repeatedly told her to go to the Nura group, because the Nura group is the strongest monster organization in the Kanto region, and she is also engaged to the young master of the Nura group. My father really treats me like a human being. He can marry whomever he wants. He really treats me like a tool. Damn it. Begui Yuan Linlandi was very unconvinced in her heart, but so what, she could only lose her temper on the surface, but she must not offend the Nuliang group. If the Nuliang group is angered, even though the Shirakian family has a great status in human society, it can be wiped out in an instant. This is the tragedy of the weak, who can only obey the arrangements of the strong. Complaints are complaints, this Nuliang group is a must-go. Oh no, it's almost dusk, it's still raining, the sky is always gloomy, and it's almost the devil's hour now. The magic hour refers to the time period from dusk to dawn. Even if it is raining now, the dark clouds in the sky only cover the sun, and the dusk time still exists. During this period of time, the yin qi is strong, and a large number of monsters will come out and be active at night, and atavistic monsters like her are the easiest to attract monsters to your door. Begui Yuan Linlandi was a little anxious and started to run. Where is this Nuliang group? Master Yuangxingji, that is the young master's fiancée. Judging from the smell, she is indeed an atavistic demon. On top of a high-rise building, there is a group of monsters wearing black robes with hideous and terrifying faces. The leader is the monster under the Nura clan, the leader of the Yuangxinghui, the monster Yuangxingji. This is a kind of extremely sinful monster. He often takes pleasure in eating children. As a monster from the Nureo era, Yuangxingji can be said to be a veteran-level monster. Although his strength is not strong, his ambition is not small. He has been coveting the position of the third-generation leader of the Nuliang group for a long time. 8 years ago, he thought he still had a chance. Who knew that the position of the third-generation leader was actually assigned to Nuliang Rikuo by Nuliang Huaxiao? This caused Yuanxing Temple's 10,000 not convinced. Nuliang Lu Sheng? He is just a low-grade monster with only a quarter of his bloodline. Even though he has the bloodline of a slickster, it cannot hide the fact that he is a half-demon, and he is so young, yet he wants to stand on top of everyone's heads and shit. But after witnessing the awakening of Nuliang Lushan, Yuan Xingji could only suppress his unwillingness in his heart. But as Nura Rikuo grew older and the time came closer to succeeding the third generation, Yuanxing Temple became restless again. So today, the monster he bribed at home sent him a message saying that the young master would have an atavistic fiancé coming today, which gave Yuanxing Temple an opportunity. As long as he kills the young master's fiancé, he will take advantage of the situation when the time comes to inherit the third generation. On the grounds that he cannot even protect his fiancée, let alone the entire Nuliang group, he will use this as an opportunity to continue to destroy Nuliang Rikuo and inherit the third generation. Opportunity. Please ask for data support such as flowers, evaluation votes, monthly votes, etc. 3 grams of oil. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 20. A lowly atavistic demon can also become a third-generation woman? The general is getting more and more confused as he lives. Let's go and meet this atavistic demon. Yuanxing Temple rushed down with a group of monsters under his command. Baiguian Rinlandi, who was looking for the location of the Nura group, noticed that there was a demonic attack, and there was not just one, but dozens of them. One of them was very powerful and was not something she could deal with now. Baiguian Linlindi's face turned pale and she ran out as if running away. What kind of monster is this? There are so many of them targeting me. This has never happened before. As Baiguian Linlindi ran away, she wondered if she had provoked a strange force. Otherwise, how could there be so many monsters following her? Not long after running away, Baiguian Linlindi knew that he could not run away in order to avoid causing turmoil in the human world. She chose to run to a place with fewer people, and reverted from human form to monster form along the way. There is no obvious change in the basic appearance after turning into the monster form. The appearance is still so cute and good-looking, and the body is still as tall, but a pair of slightly curved horns will grow on the head, a scarf with a pattern on the bottom is wrapped around the neck, and she wears a Miko costume. He wears a mask with a ghost on his waist, wooden clogs on his feet, and garters covering his thighs. This is what Baiguian Rinlindi looks like after returning to his ancestors. The monster race is White Ghost. Before he could run even 100 meters after completing his return to his ancestral form, Baiguian Linlindi was surrounded by a group of black-robed monsters. At a rough look, there were more than 30 of them, and each of them could not be underestimated. Who are you? Baiguian Rinlindi held a weapon that was taller than her body, a naginata, and looked nervously at the monsters around her. One of the monsters under Yuanxing Temple looked down upon her and said, Yo, this is the young master's fiancée. From a human perspective, she does look pretty good, but what about her strength? I can't bear to look directly at her. Yuanxingji chuckled and said, Kuei-do, this woman is an atavistic monster, with human blood, and after returning to her ancestors, she has pure blood monster blood. She is simply a hybrid among hybrids, and she is a perfect match for the half-demon young master. Ha ha ha. You are members of the Nuliang group. As subordinates of the Nuliang group, you actually belittled your young master and dared to intercept me. Aren't you afraid of being purged by the Nuliang group? From the conversation between several people at Yuanxing Temple, Baiguian Linlindi learned about their origins. Although these monsters were from the Nura group, they had the intention to disobey. It seemed that although the Nura group was powerful, they were not monolithic. A die-hard fan of Yuanxingji said, Humph, young master, a half-demon is worthy of becoming the third generation of the leader of the 100 demons at night. It is simply wishful thinking. Only a monster like Lord Yuanxingji who can eat countless people can become the third generation. In their opinion, only those who are guilty of many crimes are qualified to become strong and become the third generation of the Nuliang group. What do you want? Baiguian Linlindi pointed the naginata in her hand at Yuanxing Temple and gave a cold shout. From the words of these monsters, we can know that these guys are equivalent to rebels, and they may be in danger this time. Before he even entered the Nuliang group, he was involved in the struggle for the throne. If he had known it, he would have gone directly to the monster hall. Yuanxingji smiled sternly, of course I have to kill you. If you die, the young master will be labeled as incompetent. From now on, he will not be able to win the hearts of the Nuliang group. Go ahead, kill this atavistic monster. Hey. Yuanxingji's men walked towards Baiguian Linlindi with a malicious laugh. If they could kill the young master's fiancée with their own hands, they would feel a full sense of accomplishment. It seems we have to give it a try. Baiguian Linlindi gave a bitter smile. Facing so many enemies, she had no chance of winning, but she would not wait to die. She could only kill them one by one. It's already dusk, haven't you come yet? Nura Rikuo looked at the time and saw that it was already past 5 o'clock. It was already demon time, and all kinds of monsters were out in force, just like how humans get up to go to work in the morning. She is an atavistic monster and is considered a shame by other monsters. Don't let anything happen to her. After all, he is one of his own. If something unexpected happens on the way here, it will be embarrassing for him. Thinking of this, Rikuo Nura jumped down from the cherry blossom tree. His hair grew wildly in an instant, from the original short brown hair to long black and white hair. His body also became taller, his aura changed suddenly, and he looked at him with his red pupils. Looking at the snow girl on the side, she said, Bingley, summon all the monsters of our family immediately and follow me on a night walk of hundreds of ghosts. In layman's terms, hundreds of monsters parade through the streets at night, creating a sense of awe, fear and other emotions in humans, and gathering fear from humans. However, the night parade of 100 demons is only allowed to be held by the Nuliang group in the Kanto region. Moreover, it also needs the leadership of the most central figure, the slippery ghost, otherwise it cannot be held. In the past few years, Nura Rikuo has also performed the Hyakuki night parade twice. Yes, young master. Seeing how serious Nura Rikuo was, Oikawa Hingrai did not dare to neglect and hurriedly went to give Nura Rikuo the order. Lu Sheng, why are you suddenly going to the Hyakuki night parade? Madara, who smelled of alcohol, jumped on Nura Rikuo's shoulders with his short legs. It was just past the time of encountering demons. Even if he wanted to go on the 100 demon night walk, he would have to have dinner until late at night. Nuliang Lushan glanced at him and said, I have my own considerations, but you, how many jars of Yaming wine have you drunk? Are you so drunk? Here, hey, not much, just 2 jars. Bambi drew out 2 claws with a satisfied and lewd smile on his face. Then it's up to you to bury 2 more altars when you come back. Nuliang Lushan doesn't feel sorry for Yaming liquor. Wine is for drinking, and the Nuliang group of Yaming liquor buries a lot every year. There are also thousands of jars of Yaming liquor of different years hidden in the wine cellar. There are some that are dozens of years old or even 300 or 400 years old. Easy to say, easy to say. Originally, Madara felt a little guilty after drinking 2 jars of wine, but he felt relieved when he heard Nura Rikushin's nonchalant tone. Hey, is this your true form? It should be very popular in the human world. Madara took a few glances at Nura Rikuo's monster-like posture. In human terms, he was handsome, and although the monster's energy was restrained, it could be seen that it was extremely powerful. In less than a minute, Nura Rikuo took the lead and walked out from the center of the gate, followed by a large number of monsters on his left and right sides and behind him. The night parade of 100 demons is the Nuragumi's own monster taking a walk and patrolling the surrounding areas, showing the status of being from the Nuragumi as the master of demons and monsters, so in terms of strength, they are all composed of monster soldiers, and following Nura Rikuo many of them are monster generals, even big monsters. Please support me with flowers, evaluation votes and monthly votes. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 21. The rain in the sky stopped and the dark clouds dispersed, revealing the stars and the moon in the sky. Under this moonlit night, a beautiful silhouette flew away awkwardly, hitting a tree before stopping, and the naginata in its hand fell aside. Ahem! Blood spilled from the corners of Begui Yuan Linlindi's mouth. She forced herself to stand up and endured the pain. But her face was resolute, and there was not much fear. It was just a matter of death, and Begui Yuan Linlindi was not so bad that she begged for life. Yuan Xingxi walked out from the group of monsters and said with a slight pity, Tisk tisk tisk, such a beautiful face is really wasted. If you weren't the young master's fiancée, I would have taken you as my concubine. Unfortunately, you are the young master's concubine. Even I dare to kill the lord's woman, but I dare not touch her. Begui Yuan Linlindi said disgustedly, wishful thinking, even if I am not the fiancée of young master Nuliang, I cannot be your concubine, and I will not take a mirror to look at my disgusting face. It is really disgusting. I want to vomit. There are not many people uglier than you in the world of monsters. Yuan Xing Temple is really ugly, with a distorted face, a mouth that is always open, full of sharp teeth, and a foul smell that keeps coming out of his mouth. A mere atavistic little demon, he has sharp teeth and a sharp mouth, but that's all you have left. But now, it's time to give you the final blow. As a monster who has lived for more than 500 years, Yuan Xingji will naturally not be angered by Begui Yuan Linlindi's words. Begui Yuan Linlindi's eyes narrowed slightly. Her strength was indeed just a little monster, and Yuan Xing Temple brought more than 20 little monsters and 7 or 8 stronger monsters under her command. As the leader, Yuan Xing Temple Xingxi is definitely more powerful. The reason why she didn't kill herself at the beginning was because she was now the fiancée of the young master of the Nuliang group, and it was really a bad idea to torture her to satisfy her twisted heart. At this moment, a voice full of majesty came, Yuan Temple, I haven't seen you for several years, and your bullying character has not changed at all. It's really unsightly. Who? Yuan Xingji was shocked when he heard this sudden voice. How could anyone be there at this time? If he was seen by others dealing with the young master's fiancée, then no one would be able to protect him, and he would definitely be dealt with by the Nuliang group. Yuan Temple's subordinates were also panicked. They all lived up to their previous toughness and kept turning their heads to see who was speaking. A demon is coming. Begui Yuan Linlandi showed a glimmer of hope, hoping that this was the rescue force sent by the Nuliang group. If it was not really a desperate situation, who would die? Who is pretending? Seeing that no one could be found in Yuan Temple, the demon general's aura of strength swept around. At the same time, in front of Yuan Temple, a thick fog appeared in the dark night. In the thick fog, pairs of red eyes that seemed to bite people put great pressure on the demon, and then figures walked out of the thick fog. Hundreds of ghosts walking at night. Looking at this battle, Yuan Temple was shocked. How could it be possible? There must be a leader in the night march of hundreds of ghosts, that is, the slippery ghost. Little Lord. Yuan Xingji saw the hair with the symbol of the slippery ghost at the C position directly in front of the Hyaki night walk. Wasn't it the young master he hadn't seen for several years? The appearance of Nuliang Lushan's demonization back then is still vivid in my mind, and it is impossible to forget. It's my family's demon that's here. We were chasing the young master's fiancée, but we were caught red-handed, and the 100 Ghost Night Parade was dispatched. It's over. The demons under Yuan Temple were all scared to death. Although they were unhappy with their demons, it was a fact that their demons were stronger than them. This is Hyaki Yaka. Begui Yuan Linlandi stared dumbfounded at the group of monsters in front of them whose aura was extremely strong. This was the first time she had seen such a shocking scale. These monsters are actually stronger than me. Begui Yuan Linlandi took a cursory look and saw that the monsters of different sizes in front were all more powerful than her. Is this the Nura group? At this moment, Begui Yuan Linlandi also felt awe in her heart. Nura Rikuo put his right hand in his kimono on his chest and walked forward, while the 100 demons were one step behind Nura Rikuo. Yuan Temple, who gave you the courage to attack my people? You should have told me earlier if you wanted to die. Nu Liang was surrounded by black mist, and the fear on his body turned into a real aura that struck like a strong wind. The surrounding street lights burst and a large number of leaves on the trees fell. The little demons and demon soldiers beside Yuan Temple were also shocked by this fear and fell back one by one. So strong, how is it possible that this kid has grown to this point in just a few years? Yuan Xingji swallowed his saliva and couldn't help but take a step back with his right foot. But the next second he felt ashamed. He was the great monster Yuan Xingji who had lived for more than 500 years. He has been cannibalizing people continuously for hundreds of years, but he has always stayed in the realm of demon generals. However, Nura Rikuo, who is only 16 years old, has surpassed him. This makes Yuan Xingji extremely psychologically unbalanced. Moreover, this kid awakened the fear that he has wanted to awaken his whole life 8 years ago. Is his talent really so bad? Begui Yuan Linlandi could also feel the impact, and she closed her eyes subconsciously to bear it. The impact made her kimono whistle. After the impact, Begui Yuan Linlandi opened her eyes and looked at the person in the kimono. A young man wearing a blue feather fabric. Is he the slippery ghost, the young master of the Nuliang group, and the future third-generation general? From what my father said, it seems that he is as old as himself. Begui Yuan Linlandi's heart beat faster. Originally, she was not satisfied with this marriage, but now, Begui Yuan Linlandi felt that this marriage was not unacceptable. Damn it, even if I'm going to die, I'm going to have someone to support me. Seeing this situation, Yuan Temple knew that he was in trouble this time, but he was unwilling to surrender and decided to go crazy again. He ducked and rushed towards Begui Yuan Linlandi. The more I live, the more I go back. The pink cherry blossom petals were blown by the wind, and Nura Rikuo disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving only the cherry blossom petals on the ground. Go to hell! Yuan Xingji stretched out his sharp claws and stabbed Begui Yuan Linlandi directly. This claw could directly pierce Begui Yuan Linlandi's body. And with the strength of the little demon of Begui Yuan Linlandi, she couldn't resist it at all. She could only watch Yuan Xingji's hand piercing her head. However, at this critical moment, a petal fell on the tip of Begui Yuan's butterfly's nose, and then cherry blossoms were flying all over the sky. When she came to her senses again, a tall figure stood in front of her. Begui Yuan Linlandi raised her head and looked at the figure in front of her, her already accelerated heart beating even faster. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 22. Hey, are you scared? Just when Baiguian Linlindi's mind went blank, and only Nurarikuo was in her eyes, a voice brought her back to reality. When she heard the sound, it was the big fat cat squatting on Nurarikuo's shoulder who spoke. After speaking, it licked the fleshy ball in her palm. Cat. Baiguian Linlindi's purple pupils showed confusion as to why there was an ordinary cat on Nurarikushin's shoulder, but it was not ordinary because it could talk. Nurarikuo blocked Yuanxingji's claws with the blade of Miyakirimaru with an expressionless expression. Whispering sound. Yuanxingji wanted to leave violently, but Nurarikuo didn't give him this chance at all. The demon-repelling sword Miyakamaru in his hand raised the knife and lowered it, splitting Yuanxingji in half from the top of his head, and turned it into 2 pieces. The flying ashes dissipate and kill instantly. Nurarikushin said disappointedly, "Thankfully, you are still the veteran monster who followed my grandfather 400 years ago. With this little strength, you can only use the prestige of the Nura group to pretend to be powerful, and you are vulnerable." Monsters like Yuanxingji didn't dare to fight in the front, but only picked up heads from behind. Moreover, they did many evil things and only bullied the weak, so the old man kept him because of his old friendship. Destroy them, and then separate a group to go to Yuanxinghui and exterminate the clan. Nurarikushin was not interested in Yuanxingji's men, so he asked his 100 demons to entertain them. Run quickly. Master Yuanxingji has been caught in seconds, run as far as you can. Yuanxingji's men used all their strength to escape, and the 100 ghosts of the main family also played a game of cat and mouse. Yo duo, then you can chat while I stroll around. Madara jumped off Nurarikuo's shoulders. He was not that kind of mindless monster. He would also look at the situation. It was not Madara's style to continue to stay here and be a light bulb. Nurarikushin ignored it. He looked back at Baiguian Linlindi, and then turned to face the other party. The purple eyes of Baiguian Linlindi and the red eyes of Nurarikuo looked at each other, but they hurriedly moved away after only 2 seconds. Baiguian Linlindi, how are you? Is the injury serious? Nurarikushin was the first to speak, and stretched out his thumb to wipe away the blood on the corner of Baiguian Linlindi's mouth. Baiguian Linlindi was startled, and subconsciously took 2 steps back, but after taking a step back, she regretted a little. She had just been rescued by him, and he was also her fiancé. This was too rude, but this guy was also facing a complete. There is no need to rush to have close contact with someone you have never met, even if it is your fiancé. Baiguian Linlindi tilted her head and said, "Well, it's okay, but even if you don't come over, I can escape safely." "It's over, my damn mouth is getting in the way again. Originally, I wanted to say that the injury was okay, not serious, and there was nothing to worry about, but the words immediately changed to a different tone when they came to my mouth. Baiguian Linlindi really wants to slap herself twice. Facing the young master of the Nilayong group, she dares to say that. It's a life-threatening situation. Baiguian Linlindi complained to herself in her heart, because what she just said was completely thoughtless. And this has been her instinct for so many years. Because of her prominent family background, her heart has been hurt since she was a child. Therefore, he has the bad habit of involuntarily bluffing in order not to let others look down upon him, pretending to be strong, but this also hurts many people who could have been friends, resulting in no friends. She was also worried about how to get along well with others, and wanted to change herself, but now, with her unsatisfactory words, she was still arrogant, and it was really hopeless. Nilayong Rikushin smiled, "I'm just talking big words, but let's take a look at the actual situation. You, an atavistic demon whose demon power is only at the level of a small demon, face more than 30 small demons, demon soldiers, and even the demon general Yuanxingji. How can you escape? I didn't expect that when we first met, you gave me the impression of being a tough-talking person." Baiguian Linlindi was silent. She knew that she had given Nurarikushin a bad impression the first time. It was over, it was going to be over. How would she live if she got to the Nura group? You must know that she is going to the Nura group's headquarters now. Any monster may be stronger than her. Her status as a human eldest lady is useless here, and she is not facing ordinary humans. This bad habit of being tough must be changed. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't survive for a few days. Taking a deep breath, Baiguian Linlindi's eyes met with Nurarikushin's, so she took the initiative to confess, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to say that, it's just my instinct, this is how it happened." Begui Yuan Linlandi feels that she can only survive if she confesses, otherwise with her mouth, she will probably be torn apart when she gets to the Nilayong group. After listening to Begui Yuan Linlandi's explanation, Nura Rikushan somewhat understood. Because of his status, he deliberately put on a disgusting coat on himself, just to make her look difficult to bully. Life is indeed a bit difficult for a returning demon outside the body. I see, all you have to do is say it, otherwise I would have thought you were that kind of unruly wild girl. It turns out that you are the type who doesn't mean what you mean, but is hard-spoken and soft-hearted, haha. Nura Rikushan stretched out his hand to touch Begui Yuan Linlandi's head. He felt that his fiancée was very interesting. Young master, we have eliminated all the monsters in Yuansing Temple. Oikawa Hingrai came to Nura Rikushan with a different emotion to report. Seeing Nura Rikushan caressing the head of Begui Yuan Linlandi, she felt that she had fallen out of favor, which made her very disappointed. Bingley, you did a good job. Nura Rikuo glanced at her, stretched out his other hand and stroked the top of her head. The moment Oikawa Hingrai was touched by Nura Rikuo, all her grievances disappeared. At this moment, she felt very happy. Begui Yuan Linlandi glanced at the snow girl. Before she came, her father warned her that as the young master of the Nilayong group, she would not be the only one. Moreover, the Begui Yuan family could climb up to the Nilayong group. It is also a high-level climb, so Begui Yuan Linlandi must know his position clearly. Regarding this point, Begui Yuan Linlandi naturally understands, so she has no intention of monopolizing Nilayong Rikushan, because she knows that she is not qualified. Seeing that the night parade of 100 ghosts had finished gathering, Nilayong Rikuo looked up at the weather, used celestial control to disperse all the remaining dark clouds, revealing the bright moonlight, and said, "Okay, the dark clouds have completely dispersed, that's good. Weather, kids, let's go on a patrol and then take you to a big meal." "Oh. Okay, okay. He, thank you young master. The young master is mighty and majestic. Young master, be tough." Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 23. Nura Rikushan stretched out his right hand to Begui Yuan Linlandi and invited, "You can come too, just in time to witness the night parade of 100 demons." Begui Yuan Linlandi stared at Nura Rikushan for a few times, and then looked at the other 100 ghosts. Although most of these ghosts are scary-looking monsters, Begui Yuan Linlandi can feel the kindness of the monsters because she is not an ordinary person, but the future woman of the young master of the Nura clan and their mistress. 1. Naturally cannot be presumptuous. Kuratafo held up his hat and laughed loudly, "Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that our young master would have the first real person to be engaged to, and she will also be our third-generation commander-in-chief's wife in the future." King Tianfang rubbed the back of his head and echoed, "Yes, and he looks really handsome. He is much prettier than the ugly guys like us." The Prst Yut Mao straightened up the ball in her chest, looked at Begui Yuan Linlandi with soft eyes, and said with satisfaction, "Of course, after all, the general selected it for the young master, can you not look good, Shawu, you say yes?" Shawu nodded and said, "Yes, the general's vision is always right." The other monsters also made affirmative sounds one by one, and they all accepted Begui Yuan Linlandi. Begui Yuan Linlandi looked at this scene and was a little moved in her heart. She didn't expect that the 100 Ghost Nightwalker looked scary, but was so easy to get along with. She no longer hesitated, stretched out her right hand for Nura Rikushan to take it, and followed Hyakuki Yaka to wander in the night, laughing and laughing along the way. Monsters, like humans, are social animals and have their own ideas, joking, and playing around. There are other monsters scattered on the road, the ghosts of the dead, and the filth caused by human negative emotions. Even as a small god among 8 million gods, seeing 100 ghosts walking at night, they all can't avoid it. No one dares to appear there. In the sight of Hyaki Yaka. 2 hours passed in a flash. Nura Rikuo held the handle of Yami Kirimaru in his right hand, put the back of the knife on his shoulder, and walked like this, without destination, wherever he went. A two-tailed cat with purple-fired teeth walked behind Nura Rikushan again. She was somewhat familiar with the surroundings, so she introduced, "Young master, there seems to be a monster house called Zanki apartment in front of you. There are several atavistic demons like Mrs. Dai. Demon house." Begui Yuan Linlandi was very surprised when she heard about the monster hall. She didn't expect to arrive near the monster hall while walking. The monster hall is a place specially designed to protect atavistic monsters. There is a barrier in the monster hall to prevent monsters from entering. All the atavistic monsters live in it, and the lineup inside is one-on-one, consisting of a demon soldier with the strength of a demon soldier. The atavistic demon protects an atavistic demon with the strength of a small demon. It is a kind of mutual warmth between the weak. Madara opened one of his closed eyes and said calmly, because atavistic monsters are not only not recognized by humans, but even pure-blood monsters regard them as aliens, they are easily preyed upon by pure-blood monsters, which is quite pitiful. Nurarikushin just glanced at him without mentioning his interest and said, little people also have their own way of survival. Don't pay attention to it and keep walking. At the same time, all the atavistic demons in the demon hall gathered together nervously, looking at the 100-ghost night walk outside the window without blinking. The rich demon aurum made them, these atavistic demons with impure blood, be terrified. Haki yak, it's really Hyaki yak. Why does Hyaki yak appear in front of the monster hall? It's so scary. A yellow-haired boy, Duelist Yuri, looked out the window in great horror at the hundreds of ghosts passing by at night. He was so frightened that his prototype appeared on the spot, and he transformed into a bean raccoon demon with only the size of his hands. As the atavistic snow girl, the cool and sexy beauty Yuki Koji Wild Rose clenched her fists seriously and nervously. She felt deeply powerless about herself. She sighed and said, 100 ghosts are walking at night, I hope they are just passing by. It's not because of us, otherwise even if there is a barrier guarding the monster hall, it will not be able to stop the attack of Beguyaka. The type of monster is a tall and thin one, unlike Munashiki. On the other hand, Tsukasa touched the back of his neck and said in a relaxed tone, I think we weak atavistic monsters are not worthy of a special trip by Hyaki Yaka. Let's go. Natsum Kangzia smiled brightly and said, ha ha ha, although what you said may not sound very good, it is also true. The 100-ghost night walk may really be just passing by. You see, they have no intention of stopping at all. That's really the case. Watari Suri felt that it was really possible, and after eliminating the tension in his heart, he returned to his human form. It is said that the only one who can activate the night parade of 100 ghosts is the big monster Slippery Ghost. Then Slippery Ghost must be the leader. Let me see which one it is. The nine-tailed fox atavistic demon Yahushin Chuangchi had a silver-white hair and a handsome appearance. Suddenly, Foxishin Chuangchi's expression changed because he saw a person he shouldn't have seen in the night walk of 100 demons. Lord Linlandi. The fox god's eyes widened with blazing eyes, and the demonic power in his body could not help but radiate out, as if he was about to take action. Because he saw Begui and Rinlandi among the 100 demons. Why was a person who shouldn't have appeared in Hyakuki Yaka together with Hyakuki Yaka? Although Baigiwan Linlandi didn't know him, he still knew a little about Begui and Linlandi. The invitation he sent yesterday to stay in the demon house should have made Begui and Linlandi come over, but he didn't read it today. Arrived, I thought Begui and Linlandi didn't want to stay in the monster house. Since he didn't want to move in, he didn't force it and just continued to hide behind Begui and Linlandi to protect her. However, he actually saw Begui and Linlandi during the 100-ghost night walk, which made him lose control of his emotions. Could it be that he was have these monsters kidnapped you? Linlin Butterfly. On the other hand, when Tsukasa Lien Sheng heard the name Fox God Chuangchi mentioned, he hurriedly glanced over, and he also saw Begui and Rinlandi, who had transformed into a white ghost monster. On the other hand, Tsukasa Lien Sheng is not like the stalker and pervert Fox Shen Chuangchi. He and Begui and Linlandi have lived together since childhood. He has always called himself Begui and Linlandi's brother and took good care of Begui and Linlandi. He was also a little anxious when he saw Begui and Linlandi standing in the night parade of 100 ghosts. Fox God Chuangchi turned around and left, saying, No, I want to bring Lord Linlandi back. Hey, Stinky Fox, are you kidding me? That's Begui Yaka. Stop this lunatic. Do you want us to die with you? Du Lisili was almost frightened to death by the words of Fox God Chuangchi. He hurriedly asked other people to suppress Fox God Chuangchi. If this goes out, it will definitely lead to death, and it will even harm them in the demon hall. Therefore, no matter what, you can't let Yahushen Chuangchi mess around. Guys, the data hasn't been touched very much. To give you some writing motivation, I'm asking for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly support. If you have the ability, you can give me a reward. Thank you all. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 24. In fact, needless to say, all the other ancestral demons in the demon hall swarmed up and held the Fox God Chuangchi down tightly. As friends, they naturally knew that there was an atavistic demon whom Yahu Shen Chuangqi liked very much outside. He liked it so much that he couldn't help himself. He had refused to become the bodyguards of other atavistic demons, just to invite Begui Yuan Linlandi to come here and become a friend. Begui Yuan Linlandi's exclusive bodyguard. For this reason, he had been following people secretly like a crazy person for a long time. This was no big secret to the other atavistic demons present. Now it seems that the person Ya Fox Shen Chuangqi likes is in the 100 Demons Night Walk. He has lost his mind. Naturally, everyone wants to suppress him without looking at the background of the opposite party. That is the 100 Demon Night Walk, and many powerful and famous monsters are there. Inside, with their little arms and legs, they would die if they went up there, unable to even get up into the waves. Let me go, I'm going to save Lord Linlandi, let me go, ah! Ya Fox God Chuangqi shouted, obviously unable to communicate. Without saying a word, Natsum Zhangzia slashed the back of Ya Fox God Chuangqi's neck and knocked him unconscious. Here you go. Instead of blaming him, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. If it were other monsters, they might be able to rush out and do something, but that was Hyakiyaka, and they couldn't touch it. On the contrary, Sukasali and Sheng touched his chin and observed, although Linlan Butterfly was in the night parade of 100 ghosts, it didn't seem to have been mistreated. Instead, she seemed to be talking to those monsters. What happened? It didn't look like a kidnapping. Instead, it's like joining the 100 Ghost Night Parade. Join the 100 Ghost Night Parade. An atavistic demon has infiltrated into the famous 100 Ghost Night Parade. How did you do it? Can you send me an invitation? They want to join too. After taking a walk and eating and drinking in a monster street, the night parade of 100 demons came to an end, and all the monsters returned to Nuragumi's home to rest. Begui Yuan Linlandi, on the other hand, followed Nuliang Rikushan. Facing this strange place, Begui Yuan Linlandi was still a little afraid of strangers. Nura Rikushan randomly found a monster and said, "Little monk Nato, go help her clean up a room and come out." Monk Natu asked in confusion, "Hey, young master, don't you sleep together? Why do you have to clean up the same room and come out?" Faced with such straightforward words from Nato monk, Begui Yuan Linlandi lowered her head in embarrassment. Although the two of them are already acquainted, they are not familiar with each other and have no emotional basis. There is a gap. They sleep together as soon as they come together. Begui Yuan Linlandi is still a little resistant, but how can Nura Rikushan really choose to sleep with him? Together, then she can only accept her fate. Nura Rikushan said patiently, "Monk Nato, you have to remember that I am not the kind of person who only seeks physical pleasure. I am not used to sleeping with complete strangers. Begui Yuan is my fiancée. Not bad, but we are not familiar yet, what I want is the process of getting along, understand?" Just like Begui Yuan Linlandi thought, Nura Rikuo didn't like sleeping with strangers. What he wanted was an emotional wife, not a physical one. Moreover, it would be too scumbag for someone to pick up a gun for the first time. No matter how you say it, Nura Rikuo is a gentleman, but he cannot do such a thing. This I don't quite understand. Nato monk doesn't know anything about relationships. After all, he is an old single. Oikawa Hingray trampled the little monk Nato under her feet, and said fiercely, "Get out of the way, little monk Nato, you can do whatever the young master asks you to do, why are you talking so much nonsense?" Oops! The snow girl kicked him away, and only heard the screams of Nato monk echoing. "Young master, Bingley will clean up a room now and let Mrs. Dai move in." Oikawa Hingray gritted her teeth when she mentioned the title of Hakian Rinlandi. "Xuenu, you are the young master's attendant. You don't need to call me Madam Dai. Just call me Linlandi." Begui Yuan Linlandi could tell that the relationship between Yuki Anna and Nura Rikuo was unusual, so she didn't rely on it. Oikawa Hingray glanced at Nura Rikuo and breathed a sigh of relief after seeing him nod. He asked her to call her Mrs. Butterfly. It was really a bit embarrassing for her. Now she looks at Begui Yuan Linlandi, and she is much more pleasing to the eye. Finally, Nuliang Rikushan said, "Linlandi, you can live here from now on. If you have any questions, you can come to me or other monsters." Begui Yuan Linlandi responded, "Okay, I understand, then, good night." "Well, good night, I'm going to bed too." Nura Rikushan left, and the big fat cat Madara also followed Nura Rikushan. He wanted to sleep in Nura Rikushan's house, and Nura Rikushan didn't refuse. He was just a fat cat. After Nura Rikuo left, Oikawa Hingrai relaxed. She looked up and down at Begui and Rinlandi. She looked good, but it was too small, a flatbed airport. Immediately he said, Lin Dai, you will live there for a long time in the future, so I will help you prepare a house with a better environment. Come with me. Then please lead the way. Begui and Lin Dai followed Yuki Anna to her bedroom. But before taking a few steps, a human woman came over carrying a glowing lantern monster. When the snow girl saw the person coming, she quickly greeted him and said respectfully, Mrs. Wakana, why are you here in person so late? Begui and Linlandi looked curiously at the woman who could make the snow girl so respectful. There was no evil spirit in her body and she seemed to be a human being. Could it be that he was the biological mother of the young master Nilayong Rikuo? Just when Begui and Linlandi was guessing, Nura Wakana smiled and said, Bingley, didn't I hear that Lu Sheng's fiancée was coming, so I came to meet her in a hurry. That's it, Mrs. Wakana, this is the young master's fiancée, Begui and Linlandi, an atavistic monster, the monster race is White Ghost, Linlandi, she is the young master's mother, the wife of the second generation, Mrs. Nura Wakana. The snow girl immediately introduced the two to each other. She was truly Nura Rikushin's mother. Haki and Rinlandi immediately came to stand in front of Nura Wakana and said respectfully, Hello, Mrs. Wakana, I am Haki and Rinlandi. I hope you will take care of me. Nura Wakana looked at Begui and Linlandi with satisfaction, and she said, Haha, you don't have to be so polite, I just want to see what my son's fiancé looks like. Now that I look at it, very good, and looks good. Like Bingley, we are both cute. From now on, we will be a family. Come, let me take you to your house. Begui and Linlandi was flattered and said, Then I'll trouble Mrs. Wakana. Nura Wakana put her index finger on her chin and said, What do you call me, madam? It's too confusing. Just call me auntie first. It won't be too late to change your name to mother after you and Lu Sheng have settled matters. Good. Adding an updated chapter to thank the big boss or plus. For the 12,000 VIP points reward. The author June is here to continue to ask for flowers, evaluation votes, and other data so that this book can gain more attention from book friends. Let's join in and watch Slippery Ghost together. Happy reading during the Qingming Festival outing. Chapter 25. The next day, Nura Rikuo came out of the room and stretched himself in the face of the rising sun. Nura Rikushin put his hands on his hips, the weather is nice, and the cherry blossoms are also very eye-catching. I slept until dawn, so comfortable. Madara, when you wake up, you will gain a few more kilograms if you sleep again. Madara shook his white short tail a few times, opened one eye and said, Luzuo, I'll sleep for another 5 minutes. Nura Rikushin narrowed his eyes and said, If you don't get up, your breakfast will be gone. As soon as he heard that his breakfast was going to be gone, Madara jumped 2 meters high, stood on his feet, pointed at Nura Rikushin and said, Hey, you BD, don't you know how important breakfast is to me? Aren't you up now? There will be breakfast of course. Come on, follow me to wash up. I don't want to have a cat with a bad mouth next to me. Haha, call me Madara-sama, big or small. Madara yawned, opened his paws and stretched, then wiped his eyes with his furry arms, and looked at others with a series of movements no different. One person and one cat came to the washing area. After completing the process of brushing their teeth and washing their faces, they left to eat. The place where Nura Rikushin ate was a separate room where he Nura Hwalao and Nura Wakana were together. Other monsters go to the big cafeteria to eat, and Nura Rikushin and the others often go there as well. The food they eat is no different from human food. They are all animal meat and vegetables. There are no cannibal monsters in Nilayong Huiban's home. When Nilayong Huayao saw Nilayong Lushan coming in, he greeted him, Lushan, you are here. I originally planned to ask Bingley to call you, but we have already eaten first. Their meals are each individual meal served on a wooden plate. Linlandi, I picked this green vegetable this morning. It's very fresh. Try it quickly. Wow, it looks very appetizing. Aunt Wakana is very good at cooking. No way, I can't accomplish this alone, ha ha ha. Nura Wakana and Chiroji and Rinlandi seem to get along very well. Young Master Lu Sheng. Begui and Linlandi stood up and saluted Nura Rikushin when she saw him coming in. Here, her status is undoubtedly the lowest. Although others did not say anything, she must always remember her identity. However, the appearance of Nurarikuo at this moment was different from the one he saw last night. Last night, Nurarikuo had long hair that looked like an extension of white at the top and black at the bottom. He had red pupils, and his temperament was also different. Don't be angry and be proud. At this moment, Nurarikuo's hair has become shorter and brown, and his eyes are brown. Even his height is shorter, and he has no demonic aura. He looks like a human. Although he is still handsome in appearance, he is completely when not looking like a monster, he looks quite kind. She had long heard that her fiancé was a half-demon with only a quarter of the blood of a monster, and it was indeed true. But even so, having the blood of the big monster Slippery Ghost is more powerful than her bloodline returning to her ancestors, and the White Ghost is just one of the 100 ghost nightwalkers. Nurarikuo waved his hand, sit down and eat. Don't worry about me. There aren't so many rules here. Be casual. That's what he said, but Baiguiyu and Linlindi couldn't be free at all. Seeing that the atmosphere was a little unnatural, Nuliang Huadian looked at the two of them, and then said, Lu Sheng, since Linlindi is your fiancé, you two should get along more. As men, you must protect yourselves. A woman who remembers your grandfather and me. As Nuliang Huiguo talked, he told interesting stories about his youth, and after everyone had finished eating, he was still immersed in it alone. Linlindi, which high school are you attending now? Nurarikuo and Shiroji and Rinlindi walked side by side on the way to school with their respective school bags, while Madara lay on Nurarikuo's shoulder and continued to catch up on his sleep. I just entered the first grade of my Hua private high school yesterday. It's an aristocratic school. What about you? Baiguiyu and Linlindi answered Nurarikuo's question. She suddenly realized that she stayed with the monster Rikuo Nura last night. Because of his strong aura and the identity of the superior, she faced Nurarikuo. There is an obvious sense of tension among students. But now that Nurarikuo was facing the human state, he no longer felt so intensely nervous. Instead, he was able to communicate on an equal footing. Yes, Nurarikuo is a half-demon with only a quarter of yokai blood. The yang energy is too strong during the day and the yin energy is too strong at night, so he cannot maintain his monster body during the day and can only return to the human form, and he cannot free to change and last well into the evening. In this way, the human-looking Nurarikuo is stronger than ordinary people, but weaker than himself. You must know that Baiguian Linlindi is an atavistic monster and can awaken his monster bloodline at any time. In other words, during the day, he is stronger than Nurarikuo. Maybe if he was attacked by monsters during the day, he would need to protect himself. Thinking of this, Baiguiyu and Linlindi became hardened and straightened his body when walking. Sakura Private High School is just an ordinary school. Nurarikuo went to a high school that ordinary people could attend, which was different from the aristocratic school like Baigui and Rinlanko that only rich and powerful people could attend. That's it, Sakura High School. Baigui and Rinlindi remembers that Sakura High School and Plum Blossom High School were in two completely different places. Nurarikuo said, let's go, I'll take you to Plum Blossom High School, just in time to get to know the way, and take a look at the aristocratic students of Plum Blossom High School. Baigui and Linlindi did not refuse. She was also thinking about cultivating a relationship with Nurarikuo, so she agreed, okay. The two took a car together, got off the car and walked near Maihua High School. Nurarikuo turned to look at Madara and asked, Fat Cat, have you noticed the person following us? Of course, you thought I was really asleep, haha. Madara yawned as he spoke. You are saying that someone is following us, could it be a monster? Baigui and Linlindi's senses are not as sharp as those of Nurarikuo and Madara, but from the conversation between the two, they can also know that someone is following them. Baigui and Linlindi does not dare to look around for fear of alerting the enemy, and subconsciously held Nurarikuo's hand. As for the person hiding in the dark, when his strange-colored eyes saw Baigui and Linlindi taking the initiative to take Nurarikuo's hand, his heart felt cramped, and his gloved hands clenched tightly, making a gurgling sound. Lord Linlindi. The mysterious person following Nurarikuo and the two is none other than the atavistic demon, Shuangqi, the controlling fox god of the nine-tailed fox. The fox god Shuangqi has known Baiguiyu and Linlindi for a long time. It needs to start many years ago. He worked in the family of Baiguiyu and Linlindi's first marriage. At that time, Baiguiyu and Linlindi were married. There was a correspondence between the first fiancé. The letter sent to Baiguiyu and Linlindi was ghostwritten by Yahushan Shuangqi. He poured his feelings completely into it, and he remembered Baigui and Linlindi deeply at the first sight. Got her. But not long after, he left Begui Yuan Linlandi's first fiancée, and he lost the opportunity to exchange letters with Begui Yuan Linlandi. But after so many years, they have never forgotten each other. It was not until the past 6 months that they accidentally met Begui Yuan Linlandi, so there was a drama of following them. But this is completely wishful thinking of Yahu Shen Chuangqi. After all, Begui Yuan Linlandi doesn't really know him. Asking for flowers. Happy reading during the Qingming festival outing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.